The Evolution. Sports Talk Television live here nightly. All Bucs Report. It's the Sports Lab. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about on tonight's show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Will you shut up and be quiet? Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television here live nightly. All Bucs Report brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about here. Let me see if I got my mic up. There we go. Now you can hear me. All right, so what shall we talk about tonight? Is it the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are world champions? Definitely want to hear from you guys because I never get tired of hearing that. Do you? Not me either. So if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So what do you think, Bucs fans? What do you think? Are you over it now? Are you reveling in it? Has it hit you? How do we start off the Sports Web? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So again, we'll be taking your phone calls tonight. Want to hear from you. What do you have to say about the Bucs Super Bowl win over the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9? And all eyes will be upon this team and see if they can run it back again. And most likely they could be doing that. In fact, we'll probably have Joshua Cole Allen on in just a little bit. He had an article today on Bucs Report. Definitely catch all your great Bucs news here on Bucs Report. According to sources close to the team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and quarterback Tom Brady have already had preliminary discussions on a restructure and extension of his contract deal. His contract is set to expire after the 2021-2022 season. Brady, who's in his first year, led the Buccaneers to their second Super Bowl championship. So what do you think? Bucs already making plans. Could this be a way to, basically free up some money? Because as we know, the Bucs have some decisions that they have to make here in the coming months, of course. Guys like Chris Godwin, guys like Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Leonard Fournette. And you would think that most of these players want to come back, right? You would think that. So are they trying to free up some money? What do you think, again, about this Super Bowl championship? I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and read some of these comments. Hey, Bruce, great game plan. Let's sign Tom Brady for life. I think there's a lot of people that would insist that they sign Tom Brady for life, but how many years can he realistically play? The way he played this year, you would say maybe 10. Who would have thought 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, 43 total touchdowns? Look how he played in the postseason. Unbelievable. Really unbelievable. So let's see here. World champs, says Alex. Absolutely. Andre says, we did it, baby. World champs. Yeah. I think a lot of people feel the same way. But on this show, as I keep on saying, it was always Super Bowl or bust. Was it not? Did I tell you believe in it? Did I tell you to embrace the expectation? Some of you did, some of you didn't. When they were 7-5, didn't know what to think. I may have been with you on that. But at the end of the day, they won 8 in a row. And put that in perspective. The quarterbacks that they eliminated: Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. And no, it wasn't all Tom Brady. It wasn't. But again, to sit here and say that he wasn't a big part of it, that just the mindset alone with him coming into that locker room, making those players buy in. We always talk about it. Accountability. Got to be accountability. You got to be accountable for your actions. You got to be a professional. You got to do your job. Bucs did that on Sunday. They did their job. Who would have thought them holding the Chiefs without a touchdown? See all the memes out there. Only touchdown they had is when they were in the plane. That's about it. Nothing else. Even in garbage time. What's that say about this defense? Devin White. And some people will say, well, are they as good as the 2002 Buccaneers? Are they? What do you think? Like I told you last week, what do you appreciate more? Do you appreciate this run now? Because they've done it. They won the Super Bowl. Do you appreciate this team now, or do you appreciate the 2002 team? Who do you think would win in a matchup between both of those teams? I want to hear from you. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Mr. Daniel Williams. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're leading it off tonight on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. What do you have to say? Daniel? Hello, Daniel. Daniel? I guess Daniel's gone. I don't know what's going on. Is Daniel there? I guess he's not. So we'll figure this out. Call in again, 727-255-0391. So let's keep on reading these comments from you guys. Alex says, I think we're the Super Bowl champs. Yeah, I definitely think you're the Super Bowl champs at this point. Absolutely. Andre says they counted us out from the beginning and we proved them all freaking wrong. Exactly. I mean, this is what you heard from the national media. All they were saying is what? This. I mean, all right, let's see if we can try this again. Welcome to the Evolution. You there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right,
yes,
there we
I'm
go.
Here.
Daniel Williams leading it off here on the Sports Web. Go ahead.
Hey, man, it feels good.
Doesn't it?
To say, now, we are the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We host the Super Bowl, and we won.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd Bowles, you remember like I was saying before, we're going to play heel with a guy over the top.
Yep.
And Antoine Winfield done a good job. He done an excellent job.
Absolutely.
Like he said, you flipped on me one time.
Mm-hmm.
And when he hold up them two fingers, that's all you get, 2 catches. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you're getting? I think you can get more. I think you can get more than that, don't you? I mean, if they run this back, if what Joshua Cole Allen says is true, that they're trying to do a contract extension, don't you feel good about all these players possibly returning? And if the players don't return back, then that's their loss.
I take my hat off to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Take my hat off to Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
These guys willing to take a team cut to keep the team together.
Absolutely.
And, like I say, I just don't know why in heaven, why Devin White was not accepted for the Pro Bowl.
Well, I think it's a good thing to motivate him.
Why?
I don't either.
Because the last past couple of games after he came back from COVID,
mm-hmm.
bro, the young brother played. He played like somebody was behind him.
Right.
He played like the KKK was behind him, man, and he did protect his house and his city.
Absolutely, he did.
And and I hope that the Glazer organization, that they can come to some kind of agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Do not destroy the city.
Well,
Do not.
again, they're going to have some decisions to make, but don't you have a lot of confidence in Jason Light and Mike Greenberg to make them, especially what they did last offseason?
Jason Wright done a great job. Yes, he did.
Right.
Bruce Arians, they gave him a good shower. You're the first oldest coach that ever win the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Yes, and
well, there is a parade going on tomorrow. That's the next thing we're going to get to, and that starts about 1 o'clock. They're going to have a boat parade at 1 o'clock. So are you going to be going to that?
Where?
Well, I'll give you all the details here.
Boat parade gonna be at?
The boat parade. Let's see here. The Bucs will celebrate their Super Bowl 55 victory over Kansas City with in the water with a boat parade in the Hillsborough River in Tampa. The parade will begin at 1 p.m. Fans will be able to watch along with the Riverwalk, Julian B. Lane Riverfront Park, Curtis Hickson Park, and other waterside parks. Those who can't attend in person can watch a live stream from the Buccaneers, City of Tampa, and Hillsborough City social media accounts, said an official, and this is according to the Tampa Bay Times.
Right. I got to go to the Riverwalk so I can see it all live.
All right, there you go.
They need the I take my hat off to Todd Bowles, and he really messed up Eric the enemy. He really blew Eric the enemy out the water this time.
Well, I mean, all that talk about Bieniemy possibly getting a coaching job, we know he's not going to do that. We know he may get an extension, but you're exactly right. Todd Bowles outcoached not only Andy Reid, but also Eric Bieniemy, and he had a sound game plan that knocked out Patrick Mahomes, made him run for over 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
But I'm going to tell you that favorite play on my defense, when we folded him up like a large chair.
You definitely saw that.
We folded Patrick up like a large chair.
Yeah.
We let you run for 3 first downs. And then Todd Bowles switched it up. Look, I'm going to send 4 of y'all now. Go in there. Let's get it.
Yep.
Linebacker, he not going nowhere. You go in there and get you a little bit too.
Yep. You're exactly right.
That little play, what he done with Williams, the little guy from LSU, and number 45 was right there. And I hope that they can work something out with
Levante David.
Levante David. I want him to work something out with it.
I think they will. I think they'll get it taken care of. And if they don't, again, you have faith that the Bucs will do the right thing by drafting. But Levante David, definitely a big piece of this puzzle.
Keep my guy, God, keep him over here with Michael. And let Michael keep coaching him up.
Okay.
Keep him over here with Mike Evans. Let him coach him up.
Absolutely.
Until Mike decides to put his cleats up, like they say, we'll be back. Let's keep these guys together. I say go out, get you a couple of defense and a couple of cornerbacks, okay?
Okay.
Go out there and get you a little something. Look at free agents.
All right.
Let's go out there. Hey, man, let me hear that for the 2021. Where the fans at?
All right, there it is, right there. How about that? You like that? All right,
man. I love you, brother.
I appreciate you.
All right, my man.
All right, Daniel. There you go. Good stuff there. Leading it off again. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. What is this? Somebody sending me texts during the show. Don't do that. But definitely get on the phone lines if you want to talk about it. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are world champions. No more Super Bowl or bust. It's just a Super Bowl victory. How does it stack up, in your opinion, to 2002's team? Could they beat them? What would it be like? What would that matchup be like? What would it be like for that 2002 defense to take on that 2020 offense? Could they do it? Could they stop the running game? Could they get after Tom Brady? On the other side of the token, Could this Bucs defense get after a Brad Johnson? Could they slow down a Keyshawn Johnson, a Keenan McCardell, a Joe Jurevicius? Could they shut down a Michael Pittman, a Ken Dilger, a Ricky Dudley? They had some weapons. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's me, Gabe, and boy, am I happy.
You're happy, huh? It's hit you? Has it hit you yet?
Oh, it hit me whenever I was at Buffalo Wild Wings and the pissed off Chiefs fans started cursing at me.
So what do you think? The recent report from Joshua Cole Allen says that the Bucs are trying to do a extension with Tom Brady. Your thoughts?
I mean, he said he wanted to play till 45, but at this rate, I think he's going to want to play to 50. So
well,
I really don't mind us extending that.
Why rule him out, right? I mean, the way he's played.
I mean, the way he's played, you might as well re-sign him, because if he keeps going at this for another few years, we could actually have multiple Super Bowls, best case scenario.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I would expect that, wouldn't you? I mean, if they can get everybody signed, and that's what it comes down to, it comes down to what the decisions do they make going forward at this point. What do they make? What kind of decisions are they going to be able to make? Who are they going to bring back? Who would you bring back? How about that, Bucs fans? Tonight, I know it's early. I know it's not free agency. It's after the Super Bowl. You want to talk about the Super Bowl? You can. But tell me this. Do you think they can compete with the 2002 Buccaneers? Who would you bring back? Two or three players you would bring back. You can't bring back everybody, right? I mean, you would think they may be able to with the Brady effect. Let me ask you, do you think they could compete with the 2002 Buccaneers?
I'm going to have to say no, because that 2002 Buccaneers in the Super Bowl caused 5 interceptions. Our defense this year only caused 2. At the same time, our defense pressured Mahomes, and pretty much every single time he went to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised he didn't throw multiple interceptions other than the 2. So I'm going to have to say still no to could this defense compete against 2002? I'm still
really?
No, because that
even with KC, even as explosive as KC was, you don't think this defense could compete with that Buccaneer offense in 2002? No.
I mean, Rich Gannon's offense back then was pretty dominant. So
was it? Tim Brown and Jerry Rice. I mean, both of those guys were kind of washed up, weren't they? I mean, yeah, it was an explosive offense with Charlie Gardner, but really, I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes, one of the youngest quarterbacks in the league, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, McCole Halderman. No,
you do have a point.
Okay, I thought so. So you don't think the Bucs this year would have a chance against that 2002 Bucs team? I'm just saying, no answer is wrong. I'm just saying, think about it logistically, right? I mean, think about it theoretically. Would this defense have an opportunity to shut down that 2002 Buccaneer offense with Brad Johnson?
Oh, with Brad Johnson, yeah, no doubt that defense could shut him down.
Okay. So then you think they have a chance then? Who do you think wins in that matchup? You still take the 2002 Buccaneers?
Slight margin, yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So who are the players you're going to re-sign out of this bunch? Are you going to re-sign Chris Godwin? Are you going to re-sign Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown? I'll give you 3. You only get three guys you can re-sign.
3 guys. Okay,
3 guys.
Tough choice. Levante David, Shaq Barrett, and Chris Godwin.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So no Rob Gronkowski, not even the 2 touchdowns he had in the Super Bowl. That doesn't make you want to sign him?
I mean, we got all the explosive power. Like, if given the choice of 3, then yeah, I'm going to go all defense because those guys were instrumental in us winning the Super Bowl.
Well, you didn't go all defense. You went Chris Godwin. You went Chris Godwin. You went Levante David, and you went Shaq Barrett. I like the choices. I like those. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Also, Pete, I'm going to have to hand it to you. You called this entire thing happening at the beginning of the season.
Go ahead. Go ahead and say that again for the people in the back that didn't hear you. Go ahead and say that again. Say it again.
You called this at the beginning of the year in March. You said it was Super Bowl or bust.
You damn right I did.
It was Super Bowl.
That's right. Did you believe it back then? Did you believe it back then? Did you believe it back then? Did you believe it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Unless you forgot, I had the Bucs going 14-2 and winning the Super Bowl.
Well, it's a little bit off on the record.
With you.
A little bit off on the opponent, but yeah, the prediction definitely came true. I appreciate that credit, buddy. Anything else?
Speaking of getting predictions wrong, I think I'll Alex Fleming some wings.
Well, that's between you and him. I'm not. He's no longer with Bucs Report, so I don't know what that is. But
yeah.
yeah.
I
So
apologize. I forgot about
it's okay.
that.
No worries at all. Not a problem. All right, my friend. I'll go ahead and fire the cannons for you right there. Thanks a lot for the call, Gabe. Appreciate it. All right.
You have a nice night, man.
All right, buddy. Yeah, I mean, again, tonight is your night. I know it wasn't on last night. We had Rick Hughes on. Sorry, guys. Up until 1 o'clock in the morning. That's what happens sometimes. Got to take a little breather, but we're back here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night to hear from former Buccaneer great Mr. Ricky Reynolds. Let me go out to Mr. Rick Hughes, who covered me last night. I appreciate that. Of course, from the cheap seats, what's cooking in the South? How are you feeling, buddy? Has it hit you yet? I mean, it's still tough to even hear this, that the Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions, world champions.
You know when I think it's going to hit me is when whenever I get the DVD and can sit down and watch it. I think that's when it's going to, I mean, even watching a replay right now, it's still too raw. It's going to take a bit. But it's oh my God, Peter, this happened. I mean, and I brought up the one thing. Look, I got the game wrong. Let me tell you this flat out. I got the game wrong. I said it was going to come down to a field goal. I said it was going to be close, blah, blah, blah. I got that wrong. I was dead wrong.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of people who are dead wrong. I mean, Vegas didn't even think it was going to be 31-9. There's people out there trying to say, well, I expected the Bucs defense to be this dominant. No, you didn't. I thought the Bucs would have a plan. I thought they would be able to shut them down. Yeah, I said 35-20. I didn't think 9.
Right.
I didn't think, according to Pro Football Focus, Mahomes ran for 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
according to them.
Insane. That's insane. One thing I did get that I want to bring up is quite a while ago.
Sure.
I said, and it may have even been before the season started, I said to you, this defense may be the best defense the Buccaneers have ever had.
In your opinion? Could they compete with the 2002 Tampa Bay offense? Could they compete with that team?
Yes.
Would they beat them?
This offense is much better. This defense is maybe, if it's not as good, it's awful darn close. So, yeah. I mean, would this team win? Only because, I mean, seriously, nobody can say, yeah, we'll stop Brady.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean,
although that Bucs defense is pretty good now. I mean, they did beat who did they beat in the playoffs? They did beat Jeff Garcia and Owens in the first round, and then they defeated Donovan McNabb, a tough team, a thorn in their side, and the Eagles. But then again, you look at what this team did defensively against quarterbacks like Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes.
The gauntlet. They ran the gauntlet, 3 former MVPs, and they literally, the closest game that they had in the playoffs was against Heineke in Washington.
Yep.
I think that was the most difficult of the playoff wins.
I agree. It was probably the scariest game out of all of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Out of all of the postseason games, that was probably the biggest challenge. And I mean, when you take on those 3 quarterbacks, when you run that gauntlet, when you're faced with, you're going to have to win against all of those guys. I mean, that's stupid good. Yeah, it really is. Just, I mean, it's like, are you freaking kidding me? And then for them to get, they're what ESPN called them the 4th in the first power rankings. I don't know what look, ESPN was hating on the Bucs. Fox Sports 1 was hating on the Bucs. Everybody's been hating on the Bucs all year long. Why should that shock anybody? They're the Super Bowl freaking champions. And screw they the power rankings. That's the thing I find so funny is Kansas City is ranked number 1, and the Bucs crushed them. Right. Now, how different, and this is, let's try to, for just a second, let's try to put down the Bucs fans, Bucs, the fact that we're supporters and love them. Right. Let's try to put that down for just a second and ask ourselves, how different would this Super Bowl have looked if they had their 2 starting offensive linemen? It certainly would have looked different. Okay. They probably would have scored a touchdown, maybe 2, but it wouldn't ultimately have changed the outcome of the game, I don't think, because the Bucs were just too dominant. I agree. And I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, it's Hey, this is the look. Everything lined up for the Bucs all year. You and I talked about it. It was like from the beginning of the year, every karma debt owed. I mean, it was like everything was lining up.
Right.
It was ridiculous. It was just insane how, we'd be getting ready to play a team and their, offensive line would all be out with COVID.
Sure.
Other teams were, players were opting out. There were injuries. There was one thing after another where the Bucs just kept getting silly little things lining up well for them. And, I mean, all the way through the Super Bowl where, look, last year, during the Bucs' last Super Bowl, it was Barrett Robbins.
Right.
Okay. This year it was Andy Reid's kid.
It was Eric Fisher, it was Britt Reed. It was their right
Right.
tackle being out. But at the end of the day, still, even without those tackles, yeah, it probably would have been different because you may have been able to protect Mahomes. But with all that being said, I still think this defense would have had a plan. Did it help? Of course it did. We talked about it all week.
Remember, for 3 quarters in the first game. Too.
Right.
So this is now 7 quarters in a row.
Right.
7 quarters in a row.
Yeah.
That the Bucs shut down the Chiefs' defense.
Exactly.
Offense.
Exactly.
And to me, I heard, and I think I talked to you about this. I know I brought it up on my show that some people have made the comment that the Bucs have shown. I had somebody at work say the Bucs showed the blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs. And the thing is this, it's not true. I'd like to say that's true, but the fact is the Las Vegas Raiders showed the blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs.
Sure they
the
did.
Bucs just were better at it. And the Buccaneers defense is just better all around.
Sure.
This defense is ridiculous. And while you look at the offense and you realize every player that scored in this Super Bowl for the Buccaneers was not with the team last year, let me point this out. This defense was together last year.
Correct.
Right? There's no free agents.
And who cares? Who cares? I saw this. I saw this on Facebook and I said, this is being salty. This is what this is. This is providing shade, as the kids would say out there. Well, there's no player on the team. There's plenty of teams in the Super Bowl that the player is not with them the year before. That's why they're in the Super Bowl in the first place, jackass. Of course.
Right, because they're better. Thank you. But to even say that, let me tell you something. And to bring up the pass interference calls that the Chiefs fans don't like and all of that, let me tell you something. Those pass interference calls that they were called, they would not have scored Kansas City any touchdowns.
Nope.
You can't win unless you score.
But they were legitimate pass interference calls. I mean,
listen, I think the only way you can say that, like the Mike Evans one, let's call that, let's say, at the very least, it was illegal contact, however you want to word that.
Right.
Okay. You can't, do I think the ball was catchable? Probably not, but you have to put in the word probably.
Sure.
And that means, okay, you've got to throw the flag. They shouldn't have done that. Okay. The thing is, even if those calls were bad calls, it's irrelevant. You couldn't score the entire damn game.
Even at trash time, the Bucs wouldn't allow it, with Devin White having an interception that basically put a wrap on it. You're exactly right. And here's the thing.
They were going to walk in.
Right.
And, they were the champs. And that, it was just theirs.
Right.
And they didn't realize, what is it? Tyson always said, everybody's tough till you punch him in the mouth.
Correct.
And that's what happened.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden you got Tyrann Mathieu crying like a little baby. And what in the hell are you doing poking Brady of all people on the planet?
Right.
The one guy you decide you're gonna get into a verbal spat with, the one guy you're gonna motivate is Brady.
Mm-hmm.
What you should be doing is, if he makes a mistake, you should be saying, "Oh, that's okay, Mr. Brady. That was a very good try, Mr. Brady."
Going all Gerald McCoy on him, right?
Right. That's your best bet. It really is your best bet. It's a great way to put that, Peter.
Thank you.
But it just, you don't piss off Brady. And everybody says, oh, he only threw for 200 yards. Yeah, he went 21 for 29.
But
he had his highest quarterback rating of any of his Super Bowls ever.
Right.
First time he ever scored in the first quarter. Of a Super Bowl.
Because he had a rough start at first. I mean, he had a 3-and-out, and Bucs fans are saying, "Oh no, not again!" Because we saw how that Bucs team started out against the Chiefs in Week 12. They had 3-and-outs, several 3-and-outs. But what was the difference? We always talked about it. The defense in the red zone. Chiefs,
and Peter,
0 for 3.
Said, and I don't even know if you remember this, because I know you're talking a lot about saying Super Bowl or bust, but you said in the preseason, you and I were talking one day, and you made the comment, you said, everybody's talking about this offense, but the defense.
Exactly.
And that's, you said that before the season ever started, before game one.
Yep.
It was all just a nice big fat wish in our heads.
Sure.
And you made the comment at that point, what about this defense?
Because you listen, you look at what you see, right? And everybody's like, well, it was a mirage. I mean, they beat the Falcons, they beat the Jaguars, they beat all these easy teams. But at the end of the day, you still have to go out there and play. They also challenged the Texans when DeAndre Hopkins was there, and they shut him down. If it wasn't for Jameis Winston and the interceptions, more likely you win that game. That's what you have to look at. And then you look at the comments from Bruce Arians a year ago saying, doesn't matter what quarterback we get, Rick, as long as we got a quarterback that's going to basically take care of the ball, our defense can win. That's why the emphasis was during the offseason, let's re-sign a JPP. Let's re-sign a Ndamukong Suh. Let's re-sign a Shaq Barrett, because they know they had the defense. So for me, all it really took was having another year under Todd Bowles' system. And even with that said, we still had thoughts of this because we saw how the Chiefs, what they did to them in the first matchup. We didn't understand it, but we also saw moments of where this defense before the postseason would be dominant. We saw them basically kick the crap out of the Green Bay Packers, and that was an offense coming in where people were saying they're going to be unstoppable. They have Devontae Adams. They're up 10-0. Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw interceptions. And sure enough, he threw 2 in that game with the pick six, and you say, you know what? They have the ability. They have the opportunity to do it. So you look at this matchup and you say, they're going to be ready. And with the 2 offensive linemen out and with the defense basically not getting their respect, you know they had something to prove. I mean, how many plays did this defense give up big time in that Super Bowl? Zero. I mean, the biggest play was probably in the third quarter, late in the third quarter. Well, guess what?
30-yard pass or something, right?
Right. Yeah. And then after that, it's basically academic because you have a big-time lead, so you're not worried about giving up big plays. But, we saw this. We saw the moments of this defense, and then the postseason, they really stepped up. And I tell you right now, Devin White, get COVID again. I hope he don't get COVID, but when that guy got COVID, he came back versus the Saints. He was possessed. He was possessed. He was giving people COVID on the field with the way he was hitting.
And let me say this. Everybody complains.
They didn't want no part of him.
Well, everybody complains that Devin White didn't get in the Pro Bowl or this, that. Listen, respect is earned. The dude's going to get in the Pro Bowl next year, okay?
Sure.
And this is what it takes, guys. This is the thing that it takes. You have to perform like this. This is how everybody watched it happen. Everybody knows about him now. Everything changes. And this is where everything changes. And I promise next year, even if Devin White makes it and, whatever, who knows who makes the Pro Bowl, who doesn't, who cares. But the thing is, there's still going to be, I promise you, fans will be complaining on the team that somebody didn't make it and it's disrespect and it's blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
One thing I will say about Buccaneers fans is constantly they will always say, whoever the announcers are, it doesn't matter what network, doesn't matter when, where, why, how.
Right.
The announcers are against the Bucs. The referees are against the Bucs. I mean, the league's against the Bucs. Everybody's against the Bucs. And the fact of the matter is, no, what you saw during the Super Bowl, you saw exactly what happens. You know what? A good team, sometimes you get the calls because you're a good freaking team.
That's it.
And you've earned it. Respect is earned.
Right, but sometimes the calls just have to be made. The Mike Evans interference, it was interference. The guy was grabbing on him. The face guarding by Tyrann Mathieu, he could sit there all day long and cry about it, but he was looking at Mike Evans instead of looking back at the ball. It's interference. You're impeding the guy in the end zone. It's going to be called all day long. So everybody could sit there and say, well, Tom Brady this and Tom Brady that, cheater this and cheater that. And all I have to say is at the end of the day, no matter if they get those penalties or not, Kansas City was not able to stop the Bucs in the red zone. They were what? In the red zone? What was it?
They were because they stopped them on the 1 yard line.
Well, that's only the one time, and I really think the Bucs
kind of couldn't score.
Right.
And the ultimate thing is they couldn't score, so it's irrelevant.
Right. 3 for 5. And that was the matchup we were talking about, how porous the Chiefs defense was in the red zone. They were 32nd. You get in the red zone, it's money time, which is amazing to me that Ronald Jones, the victim of volume, was the victim of circumstance, how he couldn't just reach into the end zone.
Victim of circumstance. That was the wrong guy in there. I'm sorry.
Right.
Why in the heck would you have the guy who's quick and makes quick cuts and tries to hit the hole quickly? There's not going to be a hole on a goal line stand.
Well,
you bring the sledgehammer in.
I think what they thought was that Vea, being the lead blocker there, was going to free it up, and Ronald Jones runs with some power. But you're right. Fournette is more of a sledgehammer, so it was kind of peculiar. But at the end of the day, if Joe Haig does his job and catches that touchdown, instead of being 21-6, is 27-6.
Yeah,
it doesn't come back to haunt you, but you're going to Haig in that situation. You had it wide open. The guy has to catch the ball. He's not known to catch the ball. He's an offensive lineman, but you're exactly right. Most likely Fournette, but they were running a rotation at that point. They went with Jones, and hats off to the Chiefs stopping him. But then after that, does the defense fold? They give up a big play, but any points scored after that? No. You know why? Because the defense wanted it. They wanted it just as bad as the offense, and more than likely, they had a chip on their shoulder because of all national media. All they were talking about all week long was how Patrick Mahomes and this explosive offense is just going to run roughshod, including, Nick Wrong. That's what Dan Patrick called him. I didn't call him that. Nick Wrong, Nick Wright on Fox Sports 1, who's making a living out of being completely wrong about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, saying that the Chiefs are going to beat them by 16 or 17 points. Get the hell out of here. I mean, honestly, does he watch football? Did he watch all those explosive offenses that this Bucs defense shut down? I mean, you could sit here and say, well, we're on Bucs Report. We're on a fan site. No, I watch football. You watch football. I watch football. No matter if it was the Bucs, you could clearly see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the hottest team in the postseason, right? And instead of kind of saying, well, they're the hottest team, so usually the hottest team not only is playing offensively, but defensively, and the brand of ball they're playing. And Rick, you know what I'm talking about. Playing stifling defense, running the ball, taking care of the ball, usually, and with Brady throwing 3 interceptions. But overall, that's how you have to do it. And then what happened in the Super Bowl? No turnovers. You win the turnover battle. Number 1, you run the ball more than the Chiefs do. Number 2, and number 3, you knock Patrick Mahomes out. You make him run for his life, and you call some turnovers in the process. So overall, it was a great game plan that was facilitated throughout this postseason, and it was beautiful on Sunday night. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I just think this is funny. It was the most complete game they played this year.
Right.
But I genuinely don't think we've seen the best out of the Bucs.
You know why? Because they're going to have all those 400 reps left, hopefully, if we don't have another freaking pandemic in this country. Wash your hands and wear a mask, and whoever else is overseas, please, no more of this. If we can get this together, you have the 400 reps, you have the OTAs. Brady will have another year under this offense. He'll be even more comfortable. I felt like this offense got better and better with time. And then after that bye week, it seemed like they weren't going to lose. Yeah. I mean, they told themselves basically, we're not going to lose. We're not going to get in our way. The quarterback is going to play at a top level. We're going to figure out what he does best. We're going to figure out what we do best. And what we do best is pound people's lights out with the running game. Yeah. What we do best is get after it. Yeah. Yes. Well, I tell you who woke up
and decided we need to run the ball. I don't know who it was.
It's probably Tom Brady. Tom Brady probably went to Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich and says, enough of this nonsense of having empty set garbage when it's 3rd and 1. Enough of that.
How happy were you when you saw Brady yelling at the sideline, no, keep the same thing?
Love it.
And there was a timeout called. Yeah, and he was yelling, no, at the coaches on the sideline, telling them, no, I know you want to change the call, but no, I want to stick with what we had, because he saw something and he was adamant and stood up. He didn't just do what he was told.
Sure.
He did what he's, what he's great at.
That's it. Know? I mean, and let that guy, and even Bruce Arians talked about it. I let him coach more than Bill Belichick. Okay, we'll continue to let him coach.
Yeah.
And by the way, anybody who faults that and makes fun of it, don't, because it led to a Super Bowl victory because you had faith in a veteran quarterback, and not only a veteran quarterback, but the greatest of all time. Rick, anything else? Good stuff as always.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
One more thing, and then I'll get out of here.
Yes, sir.
The question about who the Bucs should re-sign, I want to say it differently. I want to bring up just a slightly different point.
Okay, go for it.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm not either.
Okay, because they will figure out who they can afford, who they can't afford, what's best for this team. And on top of it, there's going to be a line outside of the door.
Agree.
At the Advent Health Center saying, please let me in. I want to play for this team.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to make the right call. They already know people we don't even know about that want to come play for the Buccaneers. They already know.
Sure.
So they know what decisions to make. They know who to sign and who not to sign. They know what they can afford. Listen, man, they know Tyler Johnson better than we do. So they know whether or not you need to sign Chris Godwin. They know who's out there and how to handle it and what's important and what's not. And, they've already got sort of a general draft plan.
Sure they do. The team knows what they're doing.
Yeah, man, whoever the hell this team, whatever they do, I'm good. Whatever the coaches say, I'm good. And I mean, I think it's funny because I've never felt that way before about the Buccaneers, ever.
But that's what winning does. I mean, that's what winning does. That's what winning is supposed to do. It's supposed to restore faith. And everybody right now is praying to the football gods because their faith has been restored. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions. Give me a woo.
And they're going to be better next year.
You better believe it. Rick Hughes from the Cheap Seats, What's Cooking in the South. Thanks a lot for coming on The Evolution, all right?
Yeah, man. You have a great night.
All right, buddy. Let me go ahead and fire those cans. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. That's what it all comes down to, right? I mean, that's what Tampa Bay Lightning fans are feeling. No matter who it is in charge, whether it's Steve Yzerman or Julien Brisebois, you have confidence that this organization is going to do right by you. Not so much with the Rays, just saying. Because, they cut salary. That's what they do. But to their credit, and to be fair, they're usually pretty competitive. I don't know how competitive they are going to be this year. They may take a step back. Now you have faith in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If they don't necessarily bring back everybody, you have faith that they know what they're doing and they've drafted well enough. It's not a garbage organization anymore. Not that it was. They just had a lot of losing. What one player does or what several players do cannot be discounted. It cannot. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I mean, that's a change. Is that the Brady effect? Yes. Is that the effect of having faith restored? Is that the effect of belief? You believe. When you go into the offseason, you're going to be excited. You know why? Because we're not going to get on the show and say, well, who is this guy drafted number 5? Oh, we think we should draft this. I mean, hell, we had shows of who the Bucs should draft it at number 13 for how many hours? How many hours did we talk about that? This guy, this guy, this guy. You know what we're going to be talking about this year? Trying to repeat as a Super Bowl champion. What players are going to stay? What players are coming? Guys, there could be players coming. They're going to take less money to come here. Make no mistake about it. I get it. It's a business. I'm all about business. I'm all about making money. But at the end of the day, if you can make money and win championships, why not do it? All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to The Evolution. You're on with yours truly. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mike. I'm calling from New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, Mike. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions. How you feeling, first and foremost?
Well, it's been a couple of days now, so my mood is down now. But
wait. Why is your mood down? Why is the mood down?
No. Those words was bad. Those were bad. I'm better now. Like I was like drunk this past couple of days. I just, like, sober
well,
now.
buddy,
Sober.
that just means you're hungover. That's all that means. That's all that means. That just means you're hungover.
Very sober now. But I just want to give a shout out to this defense. How in the hell did they do this to Kansas City? Like, I came in this game, I even know their offensive line tackles was hurt. I'm thinking, oh, well, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's going to score anyway. 9 points.
9 points.
Touchdown.
Yeah.
No touch. Give a big shot. Todd Bowles need to be a head coach. I don't care. He needs to be a head
and everybody
coach.
keeps on saying that, and I'm all about Todd Bowles being a head coach, but hello, Bucs fans, we want him to be a defensive coordinator. We want to convince him that the best place on earth is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe he takes over and be as a coach. Maybe he's better off being a defensive coordinator. But, you should hire Todd Bowles as a head. Maybe a guy doesn't want to be head coach. Maybe he doesn't want all that responsibility. There's just some guys in this league, like Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles may be one. He may be a guy that's not ready to be a head coach. He may just like being a defensive coordinator. He's like a mad scientist. He's like Monty Kiffin. People are like, well, why didn't Monty Kiffin get a job? Well, Monty Kiffin was a great defensive coordinator. He wanted to be a defensive coordinator. He didn't want to have all that pressure where you, not for long in the NFL. You get fired 2 or 3 years. You have to worry about clock management and what your players are doing on and off the field, all your head coaches, everything like that, player personnel decisions. I mean, Bucs fans, enjoy the fact that you got a guy like Todd Bowles as your defensive coordinator, and he actually wants to be here. He doesn't want to be with the stinking Detroit Lions, where you got a coach right now that's trying to bite somebody's knee off, which I don't understand that. I don't know how that's freaking going to work.
Him and Bruce Arians, they need to be co-head coaches. Like, he needs more involvement. Like, I believe he need to be a co-head coach. Like, I can't believe what he did. Like, I expected the Kansas City to score, like, at least 30. Like, I thought it was a high score.
You thought it was going to be a shootout, like a lot of the national media, a lot of the people out there thought, and a lot of people didn't see this coming. But here's the thing about it. It's what did Chris Berman say? That's why you play the games. And obviously, the game at that point was in the Bucs' favor because they had a specific game plan on both sides of the ball that were going to work, and they were going to make it work. And that's what the key is.
I couldn't believe it. Like, people need to realize Todd Bowles outcoached Andy Reid.
Of course he did.
People thought Andy Reid was going to have a great game plan. Mm-hmm. He was terrible. He didn't do nothing different.
I mean,
even when he's supposed to have second half adjustments.
What's the difference here, buddy? Let me give you some statistics. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 9 carries for 64 yards. Oh, does that sound familiar? Oh, it is. Because in the first matchup, you had Ronald Jones, who had only 9 carries. How did that go? By the way, 17 total carries. So you run the ball 17 times. How many times you pass the ball? 49 times. What have we always said, Michael, about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or any team in the NFL? I don't care what anybody tells you. This game has not changed. You can simplify it by having balance to your offense. If you have balance, especially during the postseason months, you can beat anybody. 49-17 run-pass ratio does not work. It makes your team one-dimensional, and we all said it here on the Sports Web. What was the matchup? It was one between the lines. Both tackles being out, this defense being hot, Shaq Barrett, JPP, Vita Vea, mismatch nightmare. Patrick Mahomes basically has to stand on his head. He tried to give it all he got. But the problem is you can't do it all by yourself if your guys are dropping passes, if your guys are getting hit.
Yeah, I'm not even going to lie.
Right.
Even though Patrick Mahomes getting rushed, like, he made some throws that I was like, what the
heck?
Like, oh, my God. How is he making these throws?
I mean, some of the throws he made, he's lucky they weren't intercepted. But at the end of the day,
Devin White overjumped that pass. That hit that. Yeah, he overjumped that one.
Right.
And I think Winfield, it got over Winfield hands and it hit the kill, but I still believe that was still great throws.
Sure,
and
it was.
Receivers did let him down on those passes. Like, his receivers did let him down.
Well, I mean, they may have let him down, but
I want to talk about the offense.
Sure, go ahead, talk about it.
I'm so sorry, but like, this guy, this was I can't believe what this defense did. Like Shaq Barrett, they gotta pay that man.
You gotta pay the man. So Shaq Barrett is one of your guys. Who's the other two guys you're gonna get on back on this team?
Oh Lord, now we got to get in this conversation.
Yeah, we got to get into that conversation, man. It's a hard conversation now, but we got to have it here on the Sports Web. This is early. We'll do this again. I promise you, and we'll see what the change is.
Yes, Shaq is the first priority, hands down.
Okay,
you got to pay Shaq. I don't know what's the market value. I don't know what is the most money like an edge rusher is getting. I think Khalil Mack is getting what?
15 to 20,
sure how much money he's getting.
15 to 20 to start, but he may take a little bit less, although he didn't have as many sacks as the year before, so that's going to be a negotiation. But I'll tell you right now, Barrett, in that postseason, was he not a man among boys?
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
He
stepped up in some of the most pressures in the NFL. So, I mean, they're definitely going to have decisions to make at that point, but Shaq Barrett is a good one. Who's the other two?
Then we got to pay CG. I think they're going to hit Chris Godwin with a franchise tag. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He's going to get long term.
Okay.
Like, I think he should have been the next one that gets paid because he's young. I feel like he'd probably take like a lower deal, like instead of like a top contract. I feel like Mike is going to talk to him and like ask him, take a little lower deal so we could get all these players back and run it back. Because if you get all these players re-signed, I guarantee you, we will be back in this Super Bowl.
I agree. I completely agree with you. You know why? Because you have faith. Your faith has been restored. Faith. That's the word. You got to have faith, the faith. You know, done by Limp Bizkit and also George Michael. Kind of like the Limp Bizkit version. It's a little bit harder. But, you know, George Michael, it's a classic. You got to have that faith. If you don't have that faith, then you're not saying this. You're not getting on this show. You're talking about what? You're talking about who's the next general manager? Who's the next coach? Who's the next quarterback? And we were talking about that last year. We didn't even know who the quarterback was. We were pleading for Jameis Winston. We didn't know what was behind door number 2. Well, the Bucs did. They knew this pretty early. They could get him. And I tell you right now, that tells you everything you need to know. I told you that from the very beginning. When the greatest of all time chooses you, you know something special. You know something could happen here very special. And it wasn't a guy just taking some money or something like that. He wasn't. He wasn't coming here to collect a paycheck. That's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady has that competitive fire that will burn that friggin' field down. That's Tom Brady.
All Tom Brady wanted to do was win a Super Bowl.
That's it.
All Tom Brady wanted to do was
win it in his own house. And win it with the defense because he knew the defense was going to back him up. He knew that this organization was going to back him up, that they had his back. And that's what it comes down to.
That's all Brady wanted was
help.
That's it. Like, he's 43. He can't ask for help.
Right.
Like, you're going to make him play with rookies as his number one receiver? Come on, Bill. You got to be better than that.
I agree.
He's loved for a reason. And
I agree.
You should know that. Like,
I agree, buddy. I agree.
Then I think our third priority, get Levante David back with his baby brother, Devin White. I don't think Levante David is going to take that much because I know he's 31, so I don't expect him to ask for that much. Because there was a report came out. They said he wanted top dollar, but I think that was fake. I'm not sure because he posted on his Instagram story. Yeah, that wasn't those reports was fake. So I don't think he was asking for that much as a top dollar linebacker money. So yeah, I think we should get David back soon. David back.
We'll definitely see what the Bucs do. I like the choices. And the other question would be, do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could beat the 2002 team? Or do you think the 2002 team would have their way with the 2020 team? Another tough question tonight. Making you guys work tonight. Yeah. I mean, you guys just thought I would come on here and go, Bucs won. You guys talk. No. This is going to be a thinking game. We're going to make you think. We're going to make you analyze. Yeah.
I feel like thinking about it, I feel like our 2020 team can beat our 2002 because think about it. 2002, they was great at running the rock. And guess what? What is the 2020 team?
Were they great at running the rock? I mean, Michael Pittman, his first 100-yard game was in the Super Bowl. They weren't great. They weren't consistent in running the ball. I mean, they had Mike Allstott, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we can stop them because watching them stop Kansas City, I believe they can stop any team at all. It doesn't matter what team. They could have stopped the 2007 Patriots. They could have stopped Baltimore Ravens. It doesn't matter who. Like, watching them stop Kansas City, one of the best offensive teams of all time, literally.
So you favor the 2020 Bucs over the 2002 Bucs?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. All right, man. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you guys. thanks a lot for the call.
Thanks for letting me join.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot for the call, and definitely call back here. You can use that second call if you got something on your mind, and keep on staying tuned here to the Sports Web live on Bucs Report, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. All right.
All right, GG's.
All right, boss. There you go. Good stuff. So let me go ahead and read these comments. Again, open phone line. The questions for the night. You have an opportunity to sign some free agents. I get it. It's early. It's all right. There's no rules to the Sports Web. This is my show. I do what I want. That's why I like it here on Bucs Report. They go, Peter, what do you want to do tonight? I say this. They go, okay. Within reason. Somewhat reason. So what do you think? Free agency. Who do you sign? 3 players. Can the Bucs in 2020 beat the 2002 Bucs? Who would win that game? What about Tom Brady re-signing? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. That's what we do here. We play some games. And we could talk about the Super Bowl. Of course, anything is on the table. I'm not talking friggin' soccer. I'm not talking friggin' baseball. I'm not doing that. I'm not talking basketball. We're talking about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are Super Bowl champions. Does it ever get tiring? Do you ever get tired of that? Did you wear your Bucs shirt this week? Did you walk into work like you're a Ric Flair? Did you give him a woo? I had my Bucs Report shirt on. I walked in because I made the prediction in March. There's nothing that can ruin my day besides some idiots on the phone. I got to get over that, I guess. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. All right, I'll read these comments because I've been talking a lot, but I definitely want to hear from you again. 727-255-0391. Again, according to the Tampa Bay Times and various outlets, there will be a boat parade. Imagine that. A boat parade in Hillsborough River. You'll be able to see that in the Riverwalk. It will start at 1 o'clock. You can stream that live at Buccaneers.com and other various sites. Will have that link in that story on BucsReport.com. Also looking to have Joshua Cole Allen on what he had to report today, that the Bucs and the organization are looking to redo Tom Brady's contract, to sign him to an extension. What do you guys think? All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Peter, it's Alex. I'm calling from West Palm Beach. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, you tell me. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions. How do you think I'm feeling about it? How are you feeling about it?
Fire those cannons,
I
sir.
shall do that, my friend.
So first of all, let's give props to Jason Light. We've criticized him for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give props to he was able to build this team. And let's give props to Bruce Arians. We were just so used to the inept coaching from all the Lovie Smiths to the Greg Schianos to the Dirk Cutters.
Raheem Morris. I mean, we've had it. We go down the line here. I mean, go way back. Ray Perkins. Hell, Lehman Bennett. I mean, there was
it was built in us as Bucs fans.
Yep.
To doubt every situation instead of watching the sausage process.
You know what it is? It's that, you know what it is, buddy? It's that BTSD, Bucs traumatic stress disorder. That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
And we're all suffering from it. We all thought, oh no, not again. 7-5. Oh no, they got blown out by the Saints. There's no way they have an opportunity. And look, there were moments this year where we're like, oh man, this team doesn't look good. They have their flaws, but they worked through it. They worked through it, and they came up with a flawless game plan. I mean, how did you like watching that defense basically just put a handle on Patrick Mahomes in that offense, that supposed explosive offense?
Peter, that was a masterpiece. I kind of had a feeling. I bet money. I kind of had a feeling that they would come out feeling like they needed to redeem themselves, because how can you watch? Who is the master motivator? How can you watch Tyreek Hill does what he does on TV and not be pissed off? I know those guys hear about it. They heard they couldn't stop Drew Brees. They heard they couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers. And now here comes the Kansas City offense. They hear that all for 2 weeks long. Of course, those guys had to play. It's a human competitive spirit.
Mm-hmm.
JPP If you seen Devin White's comments, man, he knew those guys were just gimmicky and not physical, and they put everything into play. And Todd Bowles is a mastermind.
You're exactly right about the gimmicky thing, because I looked to Harry the Greek, my professional handicapper, who just contacted me, said, why am I not on the show tonight? I said, Buddy, you've been working so hard. We gave you the night off. We gave you, but he said to me at the watch party, he said, you know what that tells me when they're doing trick plays? And I said, yep. It tells me they're desperate. It tells me that they know this defense has basically punched them in the mouth and is too physical. When you're trying trick plays against that defense, that means you're in big trouble. That means you're in big trouble. And even with them trying the end arounds and the trick plays and all that other nonsense, what did they do? What did they get out of it? Nothing. They got absolutely nothing, which is what this offense was on Sunday night. Nothing.
Every man, every level. I mean, the way Todd Bowles. We watching the game on NFL Network because they're playing the games back over again on NFL Network Super Bowl. Todd Bowles, if you're that left tackle, who is it you have to face? You're going to have to face JPP, and then you come around for the next 5 plays. You're going to have to face Chuck Barrett, which you have to do a different offensive set if you're a lineman. And then here comes Dominican Sue, and then here comes Villa. You have to do like 4 different sets for the offensive line.
And you know who else showed up in that game? Anthony Nelson. Anthony Nelson was relevant in that game.
And you have to. There's 5 different players you have to set up for.
Sure.
And for a backup guard, it was just a mastery of Todd Bowles that we can't even see unless you rewatch the game again.
Sure.
And then on top of that, you had the young kid. I forgot his name. He came in and got a sack because he came away from the field. I forgot the young linebacker.
Cam Gill. I think it was.
Yes,
Cam Gill.
Played
3 snaps, but him and Ndamukong Suh had a sub sandwich there with the sandwiching of Mahomes.
And that was just the mastery of him working that line, and in the back end, the way he did those coverages, it was just a master plan. And plus, you had the guys being competitive. And I love what Antoine Jr. did with the peace sign.
I love it too. By the way, referees, you guys, we'll take that flag all day long. But honestly, I loved it because you didn't see a flag when Tyreek Hill did that in the first matchup. That's bad, poor sportsmanship. Well, guys, did you watch what Hill did in the first matchup? Flipping in the end zone, saying two, doing the Shannon Sharp, all that other nonsense. I mean, again, when you do all that stuff, expect karma to come back and hit you right in the you know what? I almost said bad word there, but karma to hit you know where. So
they exposed Kansas City, they exposed Tyreek Hill. His route tree is not diverse.
No,
he runs maybe 2 or 3 good routes.
And they bumped on him too. And even Eric Mangini explained this on Fox Sports 1, I think today to Nick Wrong. I'm going to call him Nick Wrong because he's wrong. That's what Dan Patrick called him. That's what I'm going to call him. He explained it. They were physical. They were physical with those wide receivers. They did not let them get a free release. That is the point. That's what you do against guys that are finesse. You push them off the line. Don't let them get a free release. You be physical with them. You send them a message. That's how you do it. And that's what the Bucs did.
And with all the Kansas City Chiefs, if there's any Kansas City Chiefs fans out there saying that the Bucs got all the calls early in the game. Listen, anybody who plays the game, I played cornerback in college. Anybody who plays the game, you know how the refs will give you a warning.
Mm-hmm.
And you know if they're calling a certain type of way in the first quarter, you back off. You change up what your technique is, and you change things up a little bit. But yet they will continue to play that holding, that physical type of, not physical, but the holding and disrupting and just being physical down the field beyond the sticks or beyond the 5 yards, what they were allowed to be. Then that's on them because everybody knows that the referees will warn you. They'll warn you if you're offsides. They'll warn you, okay, let loose, let it go, or they won't say anything if they'll let you play. The referees warn you. So don't give me that. Anybody who played knows that the referee, that's like a strike zone. If the umpire strike zone is up or it's wide, then you have to adjust. But if it's smaller, you have to adjust. And I don't want to hear that from them.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is also caused by, I believe, Mahomes' mother. And I get it. She's emotional. She wants the best for her kid. But, at the end of the day, the refs didn't win that game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won that game. Kansas City had
both sides of the line.
Chance. No chance.
The football gods say, hey, you know what? This Patrick Mahomes, he's still young. He's 25-1 in his last 26 matches. This is like incredible. So let's bring him down to earth. He wasn't patient. He looked for the home run. and he showed his youth. And Todd Bowles in so many levels exposed that.
Yep.
The Buccaneers ran the ball. They were more physical. They, in all phases of the way. That was a good butt kicking. I don't care if it was a high scoring game. I loved it. I deserved it as a Buck fan.
Yes, you did. You definitely deserved it, my friend. Let me go ahead and fire those right there. I'll ask you a couple more questions.
Peter, ask me who stays and who goes.
All right, who stays and who goes? 3 players that stay. Okay, go for it.
You pay the man Shaq Barrett right now.
Okay.
You sign him to a long-term deal.
Okay.
What you do is you restructure the money for him, but you pay him long-term. Give him like a 4-year, 5th year to make the money work out.
Okay.
Now, Chris Godwin, you don't sign a 4th-round Pro Bowler and let him go onto the market. You got to franchise that guy and maybe work something out during the season. They can always work something out to the season because after next year, Gronk won't be there. They don't have to worry about paying Gronk, and they'll have to address some things with other players. Like Dominican Sue won't be there, so you cannot. That's your goal in life is to draft 4th-round gems.
Sure.
And you can't let that guy go. I don't care. I know Tyler Johnson's nice, but he's not Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin has come up for more third play conversions. Look it up. More third down conversions for Tom Brady. That's like his comfort blanket.
That's it.
More than Gronk is.
Huge.
I believe in the whole season.
Huge. I think he's a huge part of this offense. And a lot of people say, well, he didn't go off in this game. Neither did Mike Evans. But you know what? At the end of the day, when they do go off, right. I mean, that's what it comes down to, but they didn't need to.
Bruce Arians says our identity is whoever the F we want to be.
That's it. We want to be a power running team. We'll be a power running team. So.
And Devontae David, I think that they're going to extend Tom Brady. They're going to reallocate some money. They're going to go to Brady. Mike Evans said he'll take less money. They'll find ways of bringing these guys back. With Dominican Sue, I believe they'll find ways because Bruce Arians said his last year, he said he wanted to keep the defense together. I believe we find ways through contract, and we have a brilliant staff when it comes to getting people and not having all this dead money. We've been like so in the clear for like the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
And not have to worry about making those big decisions. So I believe we bring everybody back. We may have to extend some contracts. We may have to reallocate some money somewhere here or there. But I believe that that we bring all 3 of those guys back.
Okay, so your 3 choices are going to be Barrett, Godwin, and who else?
Long term. Yes.
And David?
David. I believe we get Sue at a reasonable price. I believe Sue comes back.
Well, you only have 3 players now. I said I want to give you 3. So give me 3. You said Godwin.
Okay.
You said Barrett, and who's the other one?
Yeah, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, and what's his name? Chris Godwin. Those 3 come back. I think they come back. Even Bruce says we're going to do everything in our power to keep everybody.
And what about 2002 versus 2020? Bucs have this team this year has a chance.
Peter, did you see that? You see that piece that patchwork together? Offensive line for 2002.
Yes.
I mean, they were criticized. They were criticized coming into that Super Bowl as far as not running the ball the way they were supposed to. And they got tired of the deep offensive line being a weakness of that team.
Sure.
I think our team is more talented now than it is then. I know John Gruden likes to run the ball. I know the defense was dominant, but I believe that we, like they say in the day, Tom Brady matriculates the ball downfield, even against that vaunted 4 because
matriculates. I like that. That's
the ball
yes,
downfield.
That's a Hank Stramward from Kansas City days. Yes, very good.
I believe that, like I said, I believe we get to Brad Johnson, even though he got the ball out fast. We shut down their line. We're more talented. We're more athletic. I mean, in all areas, I believe we beat them.
So you okay with blocking Simeon Rice and Warren Sapp and that whole defensive line there? I mean, you're okay with that? Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks, Johnny Lynch?
What JPP says, people didn't ask him how people always ask him how he's going to prepare for JPP. JPP says Mahomes should be worried about how you're going to prepare for me.
Okay.
JPP, Shaq Barrett, Dominican Sue.
Yeah.
Villa against that offensive line.
Very
I'll
true.
take my boys. I believe it's going to be a tie. I didn't say it's going to be a blowout. I take my boys and my defense and my ball hawks over that team any day. I'll take the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, against Brad Johnson. I'll take that any day. I'll take that any day.
All right.
Any day.
All right, Landon. I appreciate the call, man. You're becoming one of my favorite web heads here. So I'm going to go ahead and fire those cannons, and I want you to do me a favor. Give me that Ric Flair woo.
Woo.
All right, my friend. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. All right, boss?
All right. Love you guys.
I love you too, man. All right, good stuff there. That's what I love. The love is all around. Don't you feel better? Like I told you, Victory Monday. Was that not good? I mean, did the breakfast not taste good? I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't know. I ate a granola bar. You know why? Because I was up all night long. And I had lost track of time. And I thought I was going to get to work late. And work actually thought I was going to call in. Nope. Didn't call in. Had one of the worst days I ever had. But I felt good about it. Felt good about the day itself. Felt good about the travel was better. Again, you walk in. You got that shirt on. You feel good. You're not talking about a losing team. You're number one. You're king of the mountain. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web, brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs, it's Advanced. All right, there you go. So let me go ahead and go out to the web heads, and then we'll get out to Joshua Cole Allen, who's waiting so patiently. Want to read these comments. Again, Alex says, I think we're Super Bowl champs. Yeah, you would be right. They counted us out from the beginning, and we proved them all friggin' wrong. Love it. Running back, says Bucs time 12. Sean, it's soaking in as we speak. Good stuff. Harold, Devin White is a superstar in the making. Ray Lewis, like, did he not look good in the postseason? I mean, anybody who said it, 5th overall pick was a mistake. Nope, it wasn't. The Bucs knew what they were doing. Thank God I'm not a general manager, right? Man, what a dominant force. Brady is the captain on the offense. Devin White's the captain on defense. I get it. Levante David's been there the longest. But you can see it. Devin White is the captain of that defense. And he's only going to get better. I mean, that's what you got to get excited about. You really do. Extend the beast. You can says, number one fan here. Nice podcast, bro. You know my rule about that podcast garbage, right? This ain't no podcast. I mean, yes, it comes on 3-4 days a week, but this ain't a podcast. This isn't recorded. This isn't produced. I'm not taking it away from a podcast. This is the evolution of sports talk television. It's a cross between a radio and TV show, not a podcast. It's not. Totally different. Nobody else is doing it. Find them. Show them to me. It's a ripoff. Period. World champions of American football. Love this team. Great year. Andre says, absolutely. Irvin says, realistically, Brady can go 2 more seasons. Who knows? Maybe 3. How many people do you think we're going to bring back? It's a great question. I want to ask you that question tonight. That's my question for you webheads and fans out there. You know, if you don't know what a webhead is, it means you watch the sports web. It means you call in to the show a lot, or not even a lot. You just watch the sports web. The evolution of sports talk television live here on Bucs Report. Brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Just saying. So what do you guys think? Who would you bring back? You got 3 choices. 3 players. A lot of people saying Shaq Barrett. A lot of people saying Chris Godwin, Levante David. That's your 3. You got Rob Gronkowski out there. Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette. No love for them. Ndamukong Suh. No love? Okay. We'll see. Breeze, Rodgers, and Baby Goat. Exactly. Dominic says, what's up, Peter? What's going on, Dominic? Corey says we have no real holes on this team if we keep the front 7. Bingo. Of course, you can't get complacent because even though you won a Super Bowl championship, what happens to those championship teams? They get complacent. You start to lose players. Are they going to lose players this year? We'll have it covered for you on Bucs Report. There may be some salary cap constraints, but don't you have confidence that they'll be able to rework those deals? Mike Evans possibly again. As crazy as it sounds, he may. We'll get the latest from Joshua Cole Allen in a little bit here. Let me read these comments. I also agree with you, Peter. Super Bowl or bust. You know who didn't? ESPN. All the experts, haters until the end. Shaking my head. They are. That's what they get paid to do. They get paid to freak you guys out. I get paid to calm you down. I told you in my rant or in my monologue last week when the Bucs got to the Super Bowl, I said some nights I was your psychologist. Other nights, I was your psycho. I'm here for you. I'm here to calm you down. I'm here to rile you up. I'm here to push your buttons. I'm here when you want me here on Bucs Report. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Chiefs could have had their starting O-line. The Bucs would have not been denied. Agree. Yes, says Philip. Bucs time 12. This team would have beat the 2002 team straight up. Bucs time 12. All right, there you go. We should just be excited to win 2 Super Bowls, not compare the two. Who cares? Well, you do, because you responded, and I didn't want to do that. I actually wanted to do this. Because you do care. You responded to it, so why not care? Why not talk about it? Different era due to hitting was a whole different ball game. That's a fair assessment. I like that. Gary says, the first one is always the best one. Jack says, huge game plan for Todd Bowles. He's the real MVP. Marcus says, the team whoops that 2000 team. Roberto, good defensive plan by Todd Bowles. Go Bucs. Steve, man, this was awesome. Monday came and I was exhausted from the emotional roller coaster. This was a memory for a lifetime. Being in Tampa, enjoying with all the Buckaholics out there was awesome. Meeting Shelton Quarles in a random seafood restaurant was wow. Go Bucs, go Big Mike. All right. Well, I was kind of disappointed, Steve, that you didn't come out to the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol, or Isla del Sol, as my Puerto Rican mommy friend would say, Damaris Ortiz. I'm going to continue to say that. It's going to become a thing. We're going to get her on here somehow. She was supposed to come out. She didn't come out either. Disappointing. Don't tell me you're going to come out and not come out. Come on, man. You promised me something here, Steve. You're supposed to come out. You're supposed to be on the Evolution. You weren't. Next time, we'll get you on. Pro Bowl is a sham. Devin White got his ring. Bling, bling. My hat's off. I like that. Alex says we beat them up front, allowing us to play cover 2. Our secondary stepped up and shut them down. Razul says, yep, you can. Ben Israel says, bring back Josh Freeman. And once again, I know you're trolling. So let's go out to Steve here. Steve has something to say for himself. Steve, welcome to the Evolution. I'm a little bit disappointed in you. I'm not angry, but I'm disappointed. You know, when you got to see on your report card and you looked at your dad and said, yeah, that's good. And he said, I'm disappointed in you. Steve, son, I'm disappointed in you. You told me that you were going to come out to the Deck Bar and Grill and you showed me. What's up, man?
Oh, man, I had to call because you called me out on your show.
I did.
So I had to call.
Okay.
I had to call. So what happened was my brother came up from West Palm Beach, man.
Stop right there. What you just said to me just told me everything you need to know. You were going to make an excuse. What had happened now? All right, go ahead and finish. Very funny there, Steve. Go ahead.
No, man, my brother came out, and then, my sister-in-law, and then they have a 12-year-old girl, and it was hard.
Is a 12-year-old girl a Bucs fan? Just tell me this. Just tell me this right now. Please make this very clear, because Bucs fans out there, if you're a Bucs fan, you got to corrupt them while they're young. My nephew's 15, 16 years old. He's a Bucs fan. You know why? Because his uncle does a Bucs show. My niece and nephew. Yes. Go ahead. Tell me.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. It happens on this show. Is she a Bucs fan?
So I'll tell you this right now. So my brother is pretty much my whole family is a Patriots fan. I was born in Rhode Island, joined the Army in Florida. So, but anyways, my brother came up. I had outfits waiting for them, and they wore all Tampa Bay stuff. All 3 of them wore all Tampa stuff. They had necklaces. They had the whole set up. Even my wife, who's a Cowboys fan, she dressed up as all Tampa Bay. I was like, no, if you're gonna be here, you're not gonna know. So they all did wear it. My brother did party. My brother, he did call me up a lot during the game. But I try to get out there, man. I try to get out there. I'm thinking about going there for the first game of the season. So maybe then.
Don't make me promises you're not going to keep. So don't tell me you're going to do it.
I know.
All right.
I know.
Maybe's okay. Maybe I can deal with. Don't tell me you're going to.
No, I mean, it was awesome. I can't. I lost my voice.
Okay.
And I'm literally driving back. We stopped at the casino in Louisiana.
Oh.
I'm getting all talking here.
Were you lucky?
And at 7:14 in the morning, I get a phone call from work to ask me if I can work tonight. So I'm literally at work right now.
No. What do you mean you got a call from work and can you work tonight? No, I can't work tonight. It's my time off. The Bucs just won the Super Bowl. What's wrong with you? Call back later. That's when you make an answer machine. You say, Steve is not here right now. he's preparing right now to basically get as drunk as he can because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his favorite team from his childhood, just won the Super Bowl. Leave a message at the tone. I'll call you back when I'm done. The end.
I tell you what, man, it was amazing. I cried.
That's all right, man. I think we've all been there. I didn't cry. I've never cried for a sport. I've never done that. I can honestly say the only time I really cried was, and I admitted this before, I cried at Field of Dreams because it always reminds me of my father. That's the movie I cried to. I never cried
I was a little drunk, though.
Well, I mean, it happens. I mean, that's why I don't get drunk. I can control myself. I can't get drunk. I couldn't imagine doing a show drunk.
Yeah, I know. And my wife actually recorded me singing "We Are the Champions" with a whole bunch of random strangers.
Oh, well, she's got you by you know what now.
Yeah, I know. It was fucking hilarious.
He's cursing now.
Before I answer your questions about who would I bring back,
yes,
I want to say one of the neatest things that happened was, if it wasn't for my wife. So again, I drug her out. I was like, I'll at least take you for some good seafood. So we were somewhere. We asked this girl, I was like, hey, so what's a good restaurant? So it was the Crab Shack.
Okay.
And we went there, and I shit you not, there was Shelton Quarles sitting right there, and it was awesome.
Did you go up to him? Did you go up to him and say hello?
No, I didn't want to bother him. The waitress saw that I was spazzing out and I was digging, and she said, "Oh, you want to meet him?" And I was like, "Oh no, the owner was there." Nonetheless, I ended up getting. I bought a little Speedflex on the field actual helmets. I think it's over $500, and he signed it. So that was pretty cool right there, man. And obviously winning. Which $3 would I bring back?
Mm-hmm.
I think you gotta bring Gronk.
Okay. Gronk is one. That's a different one. Okay. What else?
I think you got to big Gronk, and then I think you trade Cam. And then we got OJ coming back. I don't know. I mean, you could say I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, it's always been discussed. Though Cameron Brate was a big part of this offense in the postseason.
I love Cameron Brate.
I do too. I mean, when the guy's healthy, he's tough. He's tough to cover. So,
of course, a Sack Barrett. You got to bring Sack Barrett back.
Agree with that.
Just like Tom said.
Okay.
And I think David.
Okay, Levante David. So Chris Godwin, you let him go.
I mean, you got Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller.
That's a point.
I mean,
maybe you draft a wide receiver, or maybe you go out and get another wide receiver in free agency, or somebody comes. I mean, you got Antonio Brown, so you think.
I think with the Gronk and the AB, I think Gronk ain't going nowhere, so you could get Gronk on the cheap.
Okay.
AB doesn't have many choices.
That's a good point.
AB's going to want to stay.
Okay.
You could get him on the cheap. Shaq Barrett, he's going to want money. So I mean, you have to pay him. I mean, the guys are lit. And then Chris Godwin, as much as I love him, AB can. You got AB, you got Scotty, Tyler Johnson, Mike Evans, Gronk, and probably OJ.
Okay.
And then Fournette, I think Fournette too. Is someone really going to pay this guy big money? No one's doing that too much anymore after all these crazy signings for these running backs like Zeke, the Todd Gurley's, who they signed a big contract. And
hold on a minute, man. Let me put you on hold. Let me go back out to you. Hold on a minute, caller. We'll get Steve. Go ahead, Steve. Steve. Oh, Steve, go ahead. Caller, hold up here. We're going to put you on hold. Go ahead, Steve. Finish your point. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just.
No. That's fine. That's fine. That's good.
I think playoff Lenny you can get back for a decent price, and then with the Sue, I think you can replace Sue with the draft, or at least somewhat come close, because he might be 32, 33, 34 years old, and he's not what he used to be, but he's still, I mean, the way he played.
Still pretty good with the Vita Vea. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And then you have Steve McClendon, and you also have Nacho. We talked to Mama Nacho on Sunday. Don't know if you saw that, but that was a good interview. She was excited, very supportive of her son. You're exactly right. I think Sue does bring some value to this team. Now, how much are they willing to pay for that value? You're exactly right. They pick at number 32. So could they get a defensive tackle? Possibly. We'll take a look at the draft when it's time.
David came in the second round. So you don't know. I mean, you don't know what you can get.
Sure, absolutely. Don't necessarily have to draft an offensive lineman in the first round. You can draft him, defensive lineman in the first round. You can draft in the second round if you want. So.
And who could win 02 or 2020?
Yes.
That is, oh man. I love Rondé and them guys, man. I mean, that's my childhood. I mean, those guys were. But this offense compared to that offense, I just don't think you can compare it. Brad Johnson's awesome. He helped get us to Super Bowl. He ain't Tom.
22-6, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He had Keenan McCardell, Keyshawn Johnson, and Joe Jurevicius. He had Dilger and Dudley, Michael Pittman, and Mike Alstott. It's not like they didn't have weapons. They had some weapons too.
But you tell me, which guy you taking over Mike?
Who, Mike Alstott?
No. Which of those receivers are you taking over Mike Evans?
Oh, that's tough. I'm not taking any of those wide receivers over Mike Evans. But the matchup is Mike Evans versus Mike Evans versus a Rondé Barber, or Mike Evans versus a Brian Kelly, or Mike Evans versus a Dwight Smith. That's where you're looking at it.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but Rondé wasn't the best man coverage.
Well, like a lot of people said, that Tampa 2 defense was something special because they could get after it. They could just bring forward. They didn't necessarily have to blitz you. This defense, on the other hand, they have shown at times they love to be blitz happy, but also they ran for. So it would be interesting. I tell you that right now. Very, very interesting. I would be interested to see the matchup. Of course, that will not happen anytime soon because players are too old. It only happened in our minds or on Madden. So if you got Madden, look at that matchup. We'll see if that matchup would work. So, okay, so who would you take? You take 2020 or 2002?
I'm going to have to go with 2020, even though it's hard for me to say that. It's hard for me to say that. But, the gauntlet. I mean, you're going against Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
You're going against Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Three former NFL MVPs.
Sure.
It's not easy. Because if it was easy, anyone would have it.
Sure.
You're also talking about 3 Hall of Famers. I mean, for all sensitive, even though it's a short time, we could say that if Patrick Mahomes continues on his trajectory, he's destined for the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I mean, the guy's unbelievable. Let's be honest here. They did that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to lean with our guys from this year.
Okay.
But regardless, we got 2 Super Bowls, Peter, so who cares?
That's it, man. I'll go in and fire those cannons right there. All right, man. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. All right, boss?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Again, I'm sorry, but, man, I'm going to come out there, and I'm going to make it a point to sit down and at least say one word on yourself.
All right, man. All right.
All right.
Good stuff, man. There you go. Thanks a lot, Steve. Let me go back out to the phone lines here. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Keith.
What's going on, Keith? What do you have to say, bud?
Nothing. I was just about to say, between Mike Alstott and Fournier, I'm going to take Fournier.
You're going to take Fournette over Mike Alstott?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you think looking at that matchup here, Keith, you would say that 2020 would be better than 2002 then. Is that what you're saying?
Brad Johnson, I'll take Tom Brady, but I'll take Mike Alstott over Fournier. I'll take Keyshawn over
take Keyshawn over the corners that you have?
Mike Evans.
Okay. Well, the matchup, guys, and I get it, you want to make comparisons, but the matchup would be Keyshawn versus a Carlton Davis, Keyshawn versus a Sean Murphy Bunting, Keenan McCardell versus a Jamel Dean. I mean, those are the matchups you're looking at, but you still favor 2020 over 2002. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in Tampa, can't beat that. It's unmatchable. It's undeniable. You got to understand greatness when you see it.
Well, that 2002 was pretty great with one of the top defenses of all time, but I agree with you on that. I definitely think 2020's version would have an opportunity because of what they did to Kansas City and that potent offense and Patrick Mahomes. So I tend to agree with you, and then you have the advantage of having Tom Brady as your quarterback. So I don't think you can really go wrong at that point, right?
You got to compare. It's like blue Doritos and red Doritos.
Yeah.
You're going to pick the blue ones if that's 2002.
Okay. All right. So what 3 players are you going to bring back free agent-wise?
I'm going to say Gronkowski.
Okay.
And Tom Brady if they restructure the deal right.
Well, Tom Brady's not a free agent, but they're looking at doing that. And again, I'm going to talk to Josh Allen. Josh, stand by here. We got lots of comments and callers, so you have to. In fact, I'm probably going to bring Josh on. We're just probably going to read the rest of these comments. But okay, so Gronkowski. What else? Who other players you're going to bring back?
Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
Because it's crunchy.
Huh? Okay. So Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch is not on this team. Who's Captain Crunch? Okay, great. I don't know what that was. I mean, that's your best attempt at trolling me, Captain Crunch. I mean, I love Captain Crunch as a cereal, but as a football player, I'm not sure if he would hold up. Let me go out to Joshua Cole Allen here. What do you think about it? I mean, Captain Crunch, does he seem like he would hold up as a football player?
It like cuts your teeth open, and then you get that weird milky Captain Crunch taste afterwards. I'm going to go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch if I'm bringing any crunch in.
I ate that this morning. That was really good. And I tell you what, it tasted better because your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions here.
Everything tastes better.
I tell you what, we're going to hold off on the comments right now. They'll be there. I promised you I'll get to them. Stand by. What's the latest on this Tom Brady situation? You reported it first here on Bucs Report. Explain.
So according to my sources close to the team, they've already started to begin preliminary discussions on restructuring and extending Tom Brady. I'm not sure how long. I'm assuming it's going to be for 2 seasons, turning most of his contract, I'm not a capologist, into some sort of signing bonus. I think he'll have a lot of likely to be achieved incentives in there as well. But it looks like, as reported on Mike Evans earlier in the week with Bruce Arians, it looks like Tom Brady is going to follow suit in what he's done his entire career in New England and take a team discount in order to keep this team together.
So basically that's correlating with the fact of they're trying to free up money so they can sign guys like Chris Godwin, which has been reported from NFL Network that the Bucs are trying to work out a long-term deal or have a choice to franchise him. Is that
Correct.
what you see here with this new deal?
Correct. Not only Tom Brady, but also Mike Evans was already reported, but I see multiple players on this team being willing to restructure and move their money around into signing bonuses, likely to be achieved, incentives, and whatnot. The cap, we know, is kind of funny money. You can move a lot of it around into upcoming years. You can move it around into bonuses. I think that we'll see a lot of that happening with some of these guys. In fact, the Buccaneers have $38 million in cap space as we stand. Going over some of the numbers, and again, I'm not a capologist. OJ Howard and Cam Brate are both scheduled to make $6 million this year. OJ, with his lack of production in certain aspects and also his injury, maybe he comes down on his number. Cam Brate is probably going to be given the option either reduce his salary once again or be cut. If they both come down $3 million, that'll give you $6 million between the two of them to play with. Tom Brady, if he can open up $10 million, his cap hit is $28 million for this year. Gives you another $10 million. That gives you $16 million. Evans, if he's scheduled to make 16, he takes a $5 million restructuring. That brings you down to 21. Ali Marpet, scheduled to make 12. If he can give you 3. Jensen, if he can give you 3. Smith is scheduled to make 14. If he can give you 5, you're looking at around $70 million right there alone in cap space in order to re-sign some of these guys. That's not including JPP's $12 million cap hit or William Golson's $5.5 million cap hit, which includes no dead money, so they can move on from him altogether. With that $70 million, if these players are in fact looking to remain with the Buccaneers and are going to take a hometown discount, see Levante David getting $12 million a year. Ndamukong Suh made $8 million, say he comes down to 6. Gronk comes down from 10 to 5. Chris Godwin gets 15. He's reported around 18. That's a $3 million a year hometown discount. Shaq Barrett, again, around 18. If he takes 15 as well as Chris Godwin, there's another discount right there. Ryan Suckup, who a lot of people aren't saying to bring back, which is going to be huge because Greg Joseph was signed by the Minnesota Vikings this year to a futures contract. He'll take maybe around $3 million. He made 1 last year. The market's around 4. Maybe he'll take 3. And again, these are just projections and wishful thinking to an extent. And then AB maybe takes around $5 million if he gets a pay increase. He may take less than that. That leaves you around $10 million, $5 million for draft picks. And again, this is just kind of bare bones. A bunch of these guys restructuring, projecting, gives you $5 million left over. Aaron Stinney, Pat O'Connor, and your Zach Triner, your long snapper, they're all exclusive rights free agents, so they're all going to come in on the cheap. And then really you're looking at role players. Nacho, Leonard Fournette, I don't think he comes back. It will be interesting to watch that scenario. And if he truly wants to run it back, or if he's looking for market value, which would be around $8 million for market value for a player of his caliber. Then you have Kevin Minter, Joe Haig, Josh Wells, Jaden Mickens, Russ Cockrell, Ryan Smith, Tanner Hudson, Anthony Auclair. None of those guys, which I think will break the bank to come back here. And then potential free agents as well. I mean, James White could be on the radar as a pass catching back if Leonard Fournette doesn't come back. I know everybody wants to say it, and I know that once I say his name, Rick's going to lose his mind. But a guy who wants to win a championship at the end of a career, has made tons of money, has got all the accolades. If you do want to move on from Will Golston, maybe a guy like J.J. Watt comes to town to play that defensive end spot for you. So they have a lot of ability and maneuverability to make cap room if they want to. And if guys are really truly in on running it back, there's a way that they could bring everybody back and add a guy like J.J. Watt and James White to the fold.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. We're on with Joshua Cole-Allen, one of the most talented writers and also interviewers I know here live on Bucs Report. Does a hell of a job even going through what he's been through the last week here with COVID-19.
Last day.
Great, good, awesome. It hasn't affected your interviewing skills. with all that being said, people think that Leonard Fournette, why do you think Leonard Fournette's going to come back? Is it James White and the victim of volume and a Ronald Jones? Do you think Fournette's going to ask for a lot of money, or may Fournette say, you know what, I'll take less money once again to stay here and have an opportunity to win a championship with a Tom Brady, because of course they got a good thing going here with Jones and of course him.
Listen, the ball's in Lenny's court. He's not going to have more value than he does right now. So if he wants to go ahead and secure a long-term deal for top running back money, his best bet's to do it now. If he comes back, I think you'll see more of that split with Rojo. Probably try to get Keyshawn Vaughn worked in more. If they do bring in a James White, maybe he'll be a guy that can be worked in. But if Leonard Fournette's going to capitalize on his value, it's going to be right now. And I don't think the Buccaneers are anywhere close to what he's going to want in order to come back, even if he is taking a discount. Just looking at it, the last 10 Super Bowls that teams have won, he was the highest paid running back at $2 million. So I think that if he comes down to maybe 4, maybe we're talking 5, possibly. Anything more than that, I think he's probably going to head somewhere else. He's the biggest question mark I have on this team right now as a guy coming back. Him, and after my interview with Nadam Kasu, I don't know how much less he's going to take. His numbers has gotten lowered and lowered through the past 2 years. He's been here, started at 10, now he's at 8. If he'll go to 6 or 5 to stay on this team, stay in Tampa where he really loves it and is very comfortable, then I think they have a chance of bringing him back. But I think Levante's coming back. I think Gronk's not playing with anybody else but Brady. I think Antonio Brown, while he might be able to get more money somewhere else, I think that if he does stay here and build up his value more, he could be looking at a big-time payday. I think if he goes on the market, maybe he's getting 5, 6, 7. If he comes back, has another big year, I think he's looking at 8, 9, 10. I think it's in his best interest to continue to repair his image and come back and try to win another Super Bowl and stick around with Tom. Godwin and Shaq have already publicly announced that they want to come back, that they don't want to go anywhere. And I think if you can get them locked up for 15, maybe Shaq takes 14, what he made last year on the tag, then I think those guys are pretty much guaranteed to come back. If not, you tag Godwin, and as much as it stinks, you trade him, you get some assets for him, you hold on to Antonio Brown, and then you have Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller kind of filling in as well. I think Antonio Brown, the role that he played is kind of underrated, and we didn't really get to see what he can fully do. One of the best route runners in the league still, one of the smartest players in the league still, and has an undeniable chemistry with Tom Brady. Ryan Suckup, you got to sign him. You got to sign. If he costs you $5 million, I don't care. I think he'll sign for 3, but you got to sign him back. And then just some of the role players. I think you'd be good to bring Nacho back. He made big strides, and he filled in admirably for Vita Vea. Like I said, Stinney is coming back. He's an EFRA, exclusive rights free agent. He's got no choice but to play with the Bucs or leave. Same thing with Pat O'Connor and Zach Triner. think they'll be back. I would love to see them bring back Joe Haig. He did a phenomenal job as that jumbo tight end and is a good backup to have. Same thing with Josh Wells. I don't think they'll break the bank for you. And then you're looking at special teams guys. Mickens, I think you get him back for 1.2, 1.5. Minter, I think you get him back for $1 million. Hudson, Eau Claire, Ryan Smith, Cockrell, all those guys should be 1 million, 1.5 signings tops. So I think you have a good chance to bring back a majority of your role players, bring back a majority of your starters, and maybe add, like I said, a few pieces depending on what you want to do. William Golson, and depending how much money these guys are willing to restructure to truly run it back, you could look at a guy like a J.J. Watt and James White. Those are the two places I can see immediate upgrades on the team. Everywhere else I'm looking at, you're solid if you bring those starters back.
Yeah, I mean, there was some talk of Stephon Gilmore, but going back to the
we don't need him.
Right. Well, there was some definite talk there that he wanted to make his way down here either by trade, and I think he's trying to work his way out, but of course the Patriots are not going to allow it, and you're exactly right. They don't need him. But a J.J. Watt seems very interesting to me in the aspect of, first, the Houston situation is a complete dumpster fire at this point. Quarterback doesn't want to be there. You don't know where they're going at this juncture. And then on top of it, J.J. Watt, you heard the report at the beginning of, the playoffs that basically they would accommodate him. The thing is, for me, J.J. Watt is making lots of money at $16 million. At first, are the Texans, if they do trade him, are they going to pay half of that deal? And what are you going to have to give up for J.J. Watt? To me, yes, you're getting a name, you're getting a productive player, but you're also getting a player that's off injured.
Nothing more than a 4th-round pick. And to be honest, the reports I've seen, they'll probably most likely just release J.J. Watt. They owe it to him for everything he's done for that team, for that city. And I think it will free up a bunch of cap space for him. But I wouldn't give up anything more than a 4th-round pick for him. I know what he has accomplished. But again, as you said, the back injuries, he's not exactly the same player. Still a very good player, but he's not the same player. Bucs just happen to have an extra 4th because somebody overpaid for Rashad Perriman offseason. So they have an extra 4th-round pick to play with. So
it's always a good thing to have extra picks here. Now, we were talking about if you had a choice between 3 players, only 3 players, who would you bring back out of that group of players that you talked about? 3 players, that's all you get.
Levante David and Shaq Barrett are locks for me. And then it comes it's really hard. I want to say Chris Godwin, but I think that Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller can do an admirable role filling in his spot. Mm-hmm. And I think if you lose Godwin, you're definitely signing AB, but I'm not going to – you said 3, so I'm not going to add him in there. For me, it really comes down to out of the whole list, mm-hmm. Nadam Kasu and Ryan Suckup. I think you don't have a replacement for Sue. Nacho's a free agent. You drafted Khalil Davis, but he's not ready yet. You don't have a guy. Jeremiah Ledbetter is your only guy that you have there that has any real playing experience. And I think Vita Vea's ability to tie up 2 blockers and let Sue do what he does. You saw on Sunday the sack and a half performance and just the constant pressure he was getting. I think that's such a hard thing to replace. And not only that, just the mentorism that he can have on if you do draft a guy in the 1st or 2nd round at that defensive tackle position. I think it's really valuable. But again, Bucs fans, you guys know about kicking. So not picking Ryan Suckup's hard there. But I think you'll have enough pieces on offense with O.J. Howard coming back too as a receiving threat. I think I'm going all defense. I'm doing Sue, Levante David, and Shaq Barrett.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what, let's go out to the webheads here. We'll read some comments together. I like to see Brady close out his historic career with 3 to 4 straight Super Bowls. Certainly possible, I guess. 0-2 pass rush would get to Brady occasionally. In your opinion, who wins that game? Is it the 2002 Buccaneers or the 2020 Bucs? How's that matchup work out in your opinion?
We're putting them head-to-head, and I think the 2020 Bucs win that game. Wow. Just because I think the defenses are both similarly very great. I mean, I'd probably give the slight edge to 2002 defense. But when it comes to offense, I think Brady would find a way to move the ball against the 0-2 defense, and I just don't see Brad Johnson doing much. Even with the weapons he has, against this number one rush defense, against the cornerbacks who have been playing lights out. I think that the defense could shut down Brad Johnson in this passing attack, and obviously the running game, because I mean that's just what this team does. So I'd go with 2020 Bucs. It'd be a good game. I think it'd be a really good game, really good defensive battle. But in the end, I'm going with Brady's experience, and he's going to take over and win.
Now, Josh, you talked to some of the players after the game. What did you learn from these guys? Did you learn something? I mean, again, you look at this dominating performance by the defense, but the offense overall running the ball more than they passed it. I mean, that wasn't to be expected, right?
No, I mean, I thought that once if they had the lead, that they would try to run the ball as much as they could. Before I came on your show pregame, and I told you pressures, time of possession, and bend but don't break. Those are my biggest keys to the game, protecting Brady, which they did a phenomenal job, pressuring Mahomes, which we don't have to talk about that. The tape speaks for itself. Right. Bend don't break. Their defense let them take a couple paper cuts down in the end zone, the red zone, and then held them out and held them to field goals, which is something which is phenomenal, that you hold the Chiefs offense to only field goals. But and then time of possession, as you said, running the ball. I think a lot of things they did. They ran the ball efficiently, which set up a lot of play action, which let them do a lot of things on this offense. You saw a lot more motion than we have all season long. Running the ball was going to be a strength against a 22 ranked run defense in the league, and also against a team that doesn't like to tackle. There are 31 in yards after catch, 31 in yards after contact, and if you can hit them in the mouth early and often, you saw what happened, and that's exactly the game plan was. And credit to Bowles, and credit to Byron Leftwich, and credit to the players for going out there and executing a near flawless game on defense. And while there were some hiccups and some misses on offense, I think if this team needed to score 2 or 3 more touchdowns, they definitely were capable of doing it. You saw they let off the gas midway through the third quarter, started running the ball more, running down that clock, and saying, all right, let's get this game over with, because we got this wrapped up, baby.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we're on with Joshua Cole Allen. Let's go back out to the.
I just want to say too, you guys are got a real treat tonight. Twice we saw Peter Blake take sips of a drink. That doesn't happen often. Doesn't happen often.
Well, I'm going to do it again because
I'll do it with you.
When your voice, you got to protect your voice a little bit. So I'm drinking this Crystal Light concoction. It's nothing like you guys think it's going to be. It's Crystal Light.
I hear you, man. Like, everyone's like, how you doing? Any symptoms? I'm like, I lost my voice. Like, oh no, the cold. I'm like, no, from Sunday.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. The whole, losing your voice thing. That's what we got to watch out for. But I was screaming Tampa Bay. I'm not only the guy that's hosting all the shows, but I'm also the PA announcer when the Bucs score. So
I'm yelling out my window to the neighborhood. A couple of guys around the neighborhood were having little block parties. Like, someone was firing fireworks off every time they scored in the neighborhood. I'm out my window yelling, Tampa!
Well, definitely when those fireworks go off, it keeps your dog up. I know my dog. Let's see here.
A celebration.
That's it. Celebration. It's worth it. Let's see.
Show me up.
We shut down MVP quarterbacks, running back, and wide receiver all year. The likes of Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Hill, Kamara, Cook. The list goes on. Unbelievable. Absolutely. They could bring back Godwin, Gronk, David, Sue, and Barrett. Only gave you 3, but that's okay. O2 team had better special teams.
It's true.
As crazy as that sounds, Martin Gramatica was automatic, but Ryan Suckup. The return unit, though, that would scare me with the Bucs 2020 team.
Nickens did well, though. 3 runs, 25 yards. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. Got you back. Yeah, got you back to the touchback line. So
yeah, but the return unit overall.
Yeah, I know. It was just disgusting.
I think it could be close if this offense played the O2 defense, but only because these guys are 20 years older now.
In their primes. Come on. Thank you, Peter.
Okay. Franchise Godwin, please. Harold says 2002 defense was special for sure. Alex says, I disagree with the caller. I wouldn't take anything from a great 2002 team. However, it is a different NFL, and this team showed us a lot after the bye week. 2020 team shoots right to the top.
That's a fair point, because John Lynch would be rendered almost useless. He would still be able to make plays, but not like he did before.
No, that's true.
I mean, so you're taking a huge contributor out of that.
where you're taking an intimidating factor of going across the middle, because wide receivers at that time didn't want to go across the middle, because if you did against John Lynch, he put that to you. Now, if you do that helmet to helmet shot, basically you're penalized 15 yards. So is okay. Howard coming back? We don't know yet.
He's signed, so he's signed to his 5th-year option is about $6 million.
Right. Brian says restructuring. Cornell says go Bucs. Tim says NFL Network is replaying all of our playoff games tonight. Man, the worst thing I ever did, look, it cut down on my satellite bill, but I shouldn't have cut NFL Network. That was crime on my part.
Yeah, I DVR'd them all.
I should have did that. Restructure Brady, Evans, Marpet, and Brake contract, franchise CG, and sign everyone else back. Okay. I like it, Brian. Jason says the Bucs are Super Bowl champs. How sweet it is. Fire the cannons as we count. Alex says, can you imagine Alstott against Vita, Sue, and JPP and Barrett?
It'd be tough for him to get traction going.
Tough matchup. Does anyone else think 31 points is our victory number? It very well may be. And the Super Bowl, we knew exactly what plays the Raiders were going to run. Gruden had a huge advantage in that game because he taught our guys exactly what they're going to run. But with that being said, you also had the horses to run that defense. So I get it. Everybody's saying, well, you know what they were going to do. You still have to go out there and execute it.
Yeah.
So let's go out to Jeremy. I hope we can keep the whole defense. Ryan says 2020 over 2002. 02 way more physical, though. Andre says the reduction of penalties was the biggest turnaround for us also. Good point.
Yeah.
Ryan says Bucs got lucky because Brady was playing with deflated balls and was taking signals from the stands.
And that's terrible. But on the penalties, too, I asked Ryan Jensen about that because he was pretty penalized last year. And I asked him, how did what did you do for point of emphasis? And he's like, just playing on that edge where I as far as I could get away with stuff without getting a penalty. And you saw on Sunday, you played with that mean edge and got in a couple people's faces, and just playing on that edge was perfect for him this season because he would still be able to go out there and intimidate and throw his weight around, but he didn't lose his cool much. That first game against the Saints, he did, but
I agree. Since being down 17-0 to the Chiefs in the first game, we outscored them 55-19. Ron with the trophy there. Like it. Danny with the saxophone. Great. Thank you very much, Danny, for tuning in. This rocks. Thank you again. Tim, I think Danny Sullivan Music always says that, so I appreciate that, Tim. Myra says, love you guys. Love you too. Thanks a lot. And he didn't call Belichick after the game, so proof of cheating. All right, Ryan.
Get out of here, guy.
Don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. And if we all know one thing, it's this defense is going to win.
A poet.
Colvin says Trolls lost. Willow says, hey, Peter, go Buccaneers. Let me go ahead and fire the cannons. Ryan says, Chiefs.
Just skip his comments because he's just a troll.
Well, that's okay. We'll play around with him. Chiefs got robbed, and he spelled the Chiefs as Cheefs. Must be cheaping himself. Brian Pearson isn't here, so I'm taking over troll status. Neither is Roger Shoe. So you can have that, and I will go ahead and give you a buzzer for that. Willow says D. White equals the people's MVP. I wouldn't say Romo was against the Bucs when he called the Super Bowl, but I would say he definitely was pro Mahomes and Chiefs. Gary,
yeah, I would agree.
Right.
I heard you talking earlier, Peter, on that comment about and I was disgusted too when the comment he made about Antoine Winfield saying this is just classless and he doesn't like that and there's no place for that. Did he not call as an AFC guy? Most of the guy did not call a bunch of Tyreek Hill games, including the one against the Bucs where he did the peace sign to Antoine Winfield and then a backflip into the end zone, and how many times that he would run by defenders and give a peace sign. So those are okay. But when Antoine Winfield makes a big play to pretty much seal the game and gives a peace sign in his face, that's not okay because they're losing. But somehow it's okay when Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs are winning. And then the whole soft holding call on Anthony Nelson when the guy had him in a headlock and brought him down. I'm like, all right, Mahomes. I mean, all right, Romo.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. People were talking about the penalties, how the refs were favoring them. Look, the Chiefs were committing those penalties. It wasn't the Bucs. They weren't getting
undisciplined.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's see here. Let me go back. This team will be better next year if they can re-sign everyone, especially offense. Tim says Rojo should have over-topped it, bounced it outside. The O-line had an end sealed. He would have made it untouched.
And, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
On that point, who said, the team will be better if they can resign everyone, including the offense. I was talking to Jeff Darling today, and he spoke to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady told him that if you think this offense is good, wait till next year. Remember, Bruce Arians said that they came out and they simplified this offense a little bit for him. With a full year under in a full offseason, they're going to be able to go and implement the stuff that Bruce Arians took out, implement stuff that Tom Brady wants to add, another year together, another year for them to work. And we saw that first half of the season was really a learning session for these guys, getting to know each other, getting to know what I said it, in the beginning of the season with Gronk and their moves and their head nods and really reading each other, feeling each other out. With a full off season, with time to add back in Bruce Arians' stuff from his playbook, was able to add Brady's stuff into the playbook. This offense, if they bring everyone back, Godwin and CJ and AB, this could rival that 2007 offense that we were talking about. Brady had 40 touchdowns this year. He could have 50 next year.
He really could have it. And then
good.
With all the weapons they have. So let's see. So we read that one. Myra says again, Nick wrong. Absolutely. Willow says they never had any receivers during the goal line stand. At least put Mike Evans out there to distract the defense.
Your VOV could have dived over the top.
Yeah, that's what I said too. The wild card beat the number 1 seed. Ryan says Nick Foles always wrong. I like that one, so I'll give you some love for that. Willow says Andre Myers, the wild card beat everybody. Pac-Man 504 with the fire. Tim says, didn't BA say Bowles would be an assistant head coach moving forward? Did he say that?
I don't know if he's going to take the title away from, I think right now Joe Gilbert has the assistant, or it's either Joe Gilbert or Keith Armstrong, I forget. But I don't think he takes the assistant head coaching title away. I think Todd Bowles after next year will get a head coaching job in the league. So enjoy one more year of him because he's probably gone.
I mean, I'm not sure if he wants to be a head coach in this league. Honestly, I'm not.
He took interviews, so I'm sure he does.
Well, I mean, maybe he went through maybe he loves it there. Maybe he'll be the head coach here next. Peter, your rationale about Todd Bowles staying in Tampa is exactly what I said about Eric B staying in Kansas City. And here's the thing. Todd Bowles may be taking these interviews, but he may be saying in the back of his mind, you know what? When Bruce Arians decides to retire, guess who's the head coach? I am.
And if they win another championship next year, I think Bruce walks away, and Todd Bowles might just step right into Tampa Bay, and I think that'd be the best bet.
And then who knows? Maybe they keep Byron Leftwich around, and everybody's happy with that, or they go in a different direction. But Eric Bieniemy, he may be waiting for Andy Reid to retire, which Andy Reid is a couple of years away from retirement, or a couple of buckets of chicken.
A couple cheeseburgers.
Yeah,
I got those cheeseburgers, man.
Cheeseburgers, man. Hey guys, what's up? Sorry I'm late. I was outside by the fire. Very cool. You can says stop neglecting us. I'll stop neglecting you. You can. As a troll, I crave your attention. Person style. Willow says I believe in the Buccaneers. Ryan says 2002 team would have no prayer. Wow, faith is a belief without proof. The Buccaneers proved themselves. Joshua Cole Allen says the rare Peter takes a sip of a drink shot. Treasure it. 2002 Bucs hit a lot harder than now and calls and win different then. Bucs Squad podcast. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Alex says there would be a lot of penalties against the 2002 team. Very true. 02 Buccaneers beat the 2020 Buccaneers. The D was better. Interesting. I don't know about that. D was pretty matched up now. Although, look, the 2002 Buccaneer defense was something special.
Sorry about that.
Okay. All right.
It's just your voice. So, I mean, it's
right. I'm used to it by now. Can the Bucs report 2020 beat the 2016 Bucs report? Absolutely, by far, because Bucs report, I believe, didn't start until 2017. And what's the difference between 2017 Bucs report and 2020 Bucs report?
I'm sorry, what was it?
What's the difference between 2017 Bucs report and 2020 Bucs report?
There's a Super Bowl. There's great staff. I wasn't around in 2016, but I'm just going to say that, the sports web is popping. Peter Blake.
I wasn't around back then. Plus, we have better ownership now than we did back. I wasn't a part of 2016 Bucs report. I was a part of a radio station in a galaxy far, far away.
I didn't even know about Bucs report.
Yeah, there you go. Let's run it back, baby. Absolutely. Ben says, listening to the interviews, I feel a lot of guys want to stay. So pumped for next year. Peter says James White would be great signing to complement the outside passing game. Willow says Barrett, Gronk, and any other of the front seven. Tim says most improved player of the year, Donovan Smith. Great job, DS. I agree with that. And of course, there's always an opportunity to restructure his deal. I think there's players out there. People always used to say, it was a Jedi mind trick that Belichick would play on him. No, it was Tom Brady. That was the Jedi mind trick. It's the Brady effect. Once again, you have an opportunity always with the Tom Brady at quarterback to win a championship. So you take less money, you keep players around, you're a better team overall.
Yeah.
The 2002 and the 2020 game would be a defensive battle with a last-second field goal. Roger Shue says, just to remember, Ric Flair still had 9 more world championships than Tom Brady and also had 10 losses, troll bag. Willow says Grammatica was an awesome kicker. That he was. Or WWE only says it's 16. It's closer to 21. But once again, he had 21 wins and he had to lose the belt 22 times. Just saying. Laugh out loud. I know. Ryan says, and R-Truth is like 67-time 24/7 champion too.
Go ahead.
He beat Doug Flutie.
He did?
He went out to a flag football game and he did the schoolboy roll-up on him during a flag football game. I wish I would have asked Doug Flutie that. That's the kind of research I should have asked him. What did it feel like to be a 24/7 champion for a day? What did that feel like, Doug? By the way, Doug Flutie was driving around in a freaking Batmobile.
Saw that.
I mean, it's
a little Batman stuffed animal.
Honestly, me and Ray saw him driving. We didn't know who it was. It was an older guy. It was Doug Flutie. I mean,
that's crazy.
It is.
He's a great guy. I met him before. My nephew's mother passed away through autism, and we through a car accident. He's got autism, and through his charity, he sent over a signed Doug Flutie picture for a raffle, free of cost. It's just a great guy.
I promise you, we'll get those interviews up once I figure out why the sound is not coming through, which is amazing to me because I keep on editing it up. I can hear it. Everybody can hear it on the panel, but nobody can hear it through it. So I don't understand. Laugh out loud. It's garbage. Yes, just like your point of Ric Flair was.
All of your points.
Willow says that's Deuces has become an iconic image. It will get recycled next year when we beat them again in the Super Bowl. I like it. Mohamed Ijak. Remember the guy who called.
Peter Skull. We got a frozen Peter Skull. We haven't had that in a while where he just froze up like that, guys. You're getting water break Peter and Peter Skull Peter all in one night. You guys should be like.
I love the Peter Sickle, but exactly, Mohamed, to answer that question, that was Tristan, and he actually said a couple weeks ago, I was wrong about that. He is still allowed to call the show. And look, just because I yell at you, we yell back and forth and we debate, we're still friends. I'm not going to ban you from the show unless you curse me out or you say some horrible things. And even then, I'll thank you for it because it's always good here. It's all good. It's all sports conversation. No way in hell this team beats the 2002 team. I mean, yeah, well, no way in hell. That defense is one of the best of all time. Allen says best pass defense of any defense in the history of the game. Rick Hughes says the Buccaneers have won their last 7 postseason games, 8 in a row. Didn't we lose in the early round in 2007? Forgot that. Laugh out loud. They did lose. The loss to the Giants. JPP is 7-0 or 8-0 in the playoffs. Tim says, Peter, curious why we only get to pick 3 players to come back? Because I just wanted to play around with you guys. That's why. I could have picked 1 or 2, but I wanted to pick 3. So I made it 3. Guys, you can pick all the players you want to. I'm just using it as an exercise. 3 players that you would pick. Get on the phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Roger Shue says, I legit cried when the Cubs won the World Series. You know why, Pete? Of course. I mean, 108 years, 109 years seem like 1,000 years sometimes because of how bad the Cubs were and how bad their ownership was and the moves they made. And every year we were talking about there's always next year. It's always next year. And, doing research on the Cubs, 84, they had a 2-0 lead over the San Diego Padres. They blow it. 89, they got blown out by Will Clark and the San Francisco Giants. And Mark Grace hits about as many grand slams as Will Clark, but Will Clark is better. It's a better team. So I've been there. And of course, who could forget the greatness of 2003, where everybody blames that poor guy who, look, he was stupid in a way of not knowing where the hell he was. I get it. He's trying to pay attention, But that wasn't the reason why they lost. The reason why they lost is bad defense and bad pitching, of course, against the Florida Marlins, who, of course, go on to beat the New York Yankees in a story. So a lot of Cubs fans out there, I understand your grief, so I can understand why you were crying. The defense they used during the Super Bowl was very similar to Tampa 2 defense. You agree with that? Is that what you saw?
At points, I think it was definitely a variety of things they were doing. One of the things that jumped out to me is they had Vita Vea playing defensive end and moved JPP into defensive tackle, and they were able to just get pressures in so many different looks and so many different fronts. And a lot of the times, even when the pressure didn't get there right away and Mahomes was able to have a somewhat clean pocket to throw to, the coverage was just so strong, he had nowhere to go with it. It was just a great game plan and great execution all the way around. And there was definitely some Tampa 2 versions of there, but it was just it was such a multiples defense, playing multiple fronts, multiple looks. You could say that, I guess.
All right, let's see. And if the 2002 Bucs were playing 2020, 02 would be favored by 4. That's my professional handicapper. The Greek laugh out loud. Love it. David says, I love the Chiefs' kingdom. Fans crying. It's fixed. NFL is rigged because their team didn't win in a blowout because nobody can stop them. Shaking my head. By the way, stop saying the NFL is rigged. It's not WWE. Nobody is in on this. All the football players that are hurt, Benny Cunningham, former Chicago Bear and Ram, came out and said the NFL is rigged, and Dwight Smith, Vegas decides, and all this other nonsense. That is just nonsense. It's not rigged. There's no way. Let's see. Brady cheated. Okay. Happy early birthday, Joshua Cole Allen. When's your birthday?
Tomorrow. 50 minutes.
Happy birthday, buddy. I tell you what, we'll get you out of here on this. Final thoughts, my friend.
Final thoughts. Tom Brady's going to restructure. These guys are going to restructure. And I think this team's going to be back to pretty much full strength of what they had last season. I told you guys at the beginning of the season that Brady's here, and it's time to let go of your inhibitions, let go of your doubts, because he's going to bring you a championship. I didn't think it would be this year. I had my doubts. I mean, I thought it could be, but he did it. You guys are world champions. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are world champions. Embrace it and get ready for round 2. Let's go.
Yeah,
fire the cannons.
Round 2, I will fire the cannons. Right there. Happy birthday, brother. Get well, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Always, Peter. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, Joshua Cole Allen, one of the hardest working men here. I know on Bucs Report. Appreciate him because he does hard work, and working through the conditions that he's been working through has been simply amazing. We'll read the rest of these comments. And again, open phone line. I mean, I hear crickets right now. I mean, what is it, past your bedtime? You got a curfew? What, you're hungover? You don't want to talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. See, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, I work during the day. You know what my job is. It's sales. It's 8 hours. It's continuous. It's repetitious. It's talking to people that don't necessarily want to talk to you. You want to talk to me. I want to talk to you. Very easy. Call up on the phone lines. Of course, this show brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. For all your auto parts needs is Advanced Auto Parts. Tell them the Sports Web, Peter Blake, and Bucs Report sent you. Again, we'll be back tomorrow night with Ricky Reynolds, former Buccaneer great. We'll get his thoughts, and we'll get some defensive breakdown because this guy right here talked about it last week. We'll see if the Bucs did some of those things. I kind of think they did. That's why we have them in the first place. It's amazing like that. But, my point was, if I'm working 8 hours a day talking to people that don't want to talk to me, and Roger Shue knows this because not only is he King Troll, but he also works with me. He can tell you all day long, I can't wait to this moment. I can't wait to get in front of this camera. I can't. Because we get a chance to talk about something we want to talk about. I don't want to talk to these damn people on the phone. I'm sorry. I hope my bosses are not watching. They know. You know. But I'm able to do that 8 hours and then come on here for nearly 3 hours and talk. Guys, help me out here. If you guys want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, questions for the night. What do you think about Brady re-signing? Possibly restructuring? How many years do you think Brady can play? You have an opportunity to have 3 players you bring back. Who are they? Most popular ones right now: Shaq Barrett, Chris Godwin. Levante David, but you could change it up. We heard Rob Gronkowski in there, maybe Sue, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, anybody? No? And who would win between the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers and 2020 Buccaneers? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Yeah, but I never cried during that. I can understand why Roger would cry. Happy birthday to Joshua Cole Allen. Ryan, you get this right here because you're trying to be a troll tonight. It may help, though, if you're going to troll me to actually spell correctly. Well, that's all right, though. Yeah. I'm not the grammar police. I hate that. You're having a debate with somebody, and you're typing so fast because you're so angry. You got all this you want to say, and it's tough to type sometimes. And you type something, and they go, you spelled cheated wrong. Well, you know what I meant. That's what I meant. You know what I meant. You were just trying to change the subject, deflect. And then basically you lost the debate because you were trying to deflect. But again, you did spell it wrong. Brady does cheat. He has all the answers to the test. And the test was answered. Don't turn over the ball. Win the turnover battle. I mean, going back to one of the matchups, I keep on talking about it. What was the rank of the Kansas City Chiefs in the red zone? 32nd. They're terrible. Bucs got into the red zone. They cashed in. Even though the victim of volume didn't score. Shut up. Quit reminding me. Yes, playoff Lenny did come up big. And when you run the ball more than you pass the ball, you're going to win. You don't turn over the ball. You keep the other offense off the field. You pressure the quarterback. I mean, it was a beautiful thing. How many times did we see Patrick Mahomes go for a first down? But didn't it seem like later on in that game, that toe injury was affecting him? Oh, there's the excuse. Oh, 100% Patrick Mahomes would have beat the Bucs. Hogwash. Nobody was beating the Bucs that day. Nobody. Not against that defense. You're out of your friggin' mind. There, I said it. Okay. Gary says, if Evans is taking less money, shouldn't Godwin take less money? Well, depends. It depends on where he's at on this. I mean, it's a great point. Would he take less money? We don't know. Guy's not going to come out and say, I'm taking less money. Who in the hell does that? I mean, do you go to your job and go, well, you know, seeing him as I'm a nice guy and I want everybody else to make more money than me or as much money as me, I'm going to take less money. No, that doesn't necessarily work out that way. You want to get your value. Chris Godwin is a top-notch wide receiver. Could be a number one in this league. Could be a number one in this team, but he's not. Mike Evans is number one. But you got options, right? You could go to a team like the Jets. They're god-awful just in the season. Sorry, Jacob Charnow. Sorry about that. Low shot. It's true, though. I mean, I guess you could go to a team. You get paid big money. If you have a chance to win, fine. But what's the best situation? You don't win here. You just won the Super Bowl. You want to go to Kansas City? Oh, that's not going to happen. Buffalo? Who has the most money? The bad teams, right? We went through this. The Bucs had the most money. Why? They're a bad team. So you go to a bad team for a year, get paid big time money. Are you going to win? You're going to win more than you win with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, those are the things that you're kind of evaluating. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Peter, it's Alex.
What's going on, Alex? How you feeling, buddy? Have you gotten all the partying out of your system? Has it hit you yet that your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions?
I was going to ask you, Peter. How do you feel about it?
How do you think I feel about it? I'm happy about it. I get a chance to report on it. I get a chance to pat myself on the back right there. That's right. I'm patting myself on the back. Okay. Yes, I got a big ego because I did say it in March. Nana boo boo. I was right. And that's okay. Because it was a good thing to be right about.
I take every opportunity I can to remind everybody I see that Tampa Bay are the world champions.
There you go. And what can they say? Oh, you only got it this year. Okay. Well, it's this year. You know, you talk to a Cowboy fan who I do at work, Ken Mincy. And he says, oh, wait till the Cowboys are relevant. And I say, Ken, they haven't been relevant since 1995, 1996. I mean, the media out there would give you the prevailing idea that they're actually good, but they're not. You know why? Because Skeletor, a.k.a. Jerry Jones, hasn't passed on the power yet. So until that guy passes on the power or takes a dirt nap, the Cowboys are going to be irrelevant like always.
Hey, I'll tell you what. My brother is a big Chiefs fan, so you can feel my pain, okay? Because all I've heard is how the refs beat the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what you say that. I mean, you know what you say. You say, okay, turn on the tape. So those penalties happen. Is that going to cause any of the Chiefs from scoring? Are they going to score any points? I mean, yeah.
It changes nothing.
Changes nothing. It changes nothing. Anybody says that, you say, okay, well, okay, the interception that supposedly one of the defensive players had, I think it was Matthew had, or one of the defensive players had off of Fournette, could have been a disaster.
Oh, you mean Matthew Smollett?
Right. Right. I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching.
That's all I'm saying. That's it. I'm going to leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Okay. Yeah, let's leave that alone. Let's not go there. But you're exactly right. I mean, his attitude in the game, he just fired up Tom Brady. I mean, that's just not what you do. That's not how you go about it. And I get it. There was an emotion to the game. Even Brady apologized about it. Matthew didn't necessarily say what Tom Brady said, but you're in the heat of the moment. So I don't think it was anything.
The guy's been in the league for over 20 years. Nobody else has accused him of anything. You know, get out of here.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking he said anything that was controversial. Probably said something that got under Matthew's skin. Right.
He's a gladiator.
Of course.
He's gonna tear you down.
Of course. Michael Jordan did the same thing over and over again.
Or worse.
Yes. I mean, I heard some things that Michael Jordan said to other players when he wasn't even playing that were bad. So
that's right. It's part of the game.
That's it.
Get over it.
It is. You're exactly right. It is part of the game. You're exactly right about that. So,
well, to answer your question, I'm freaking stoked, and I can't stop reminding everybody that we're the champs.
All right, man. Well, good stuff. Well, let me ask you this. With all that being said, 2002 versus 2020, who wins and why?
Well, I spoke up on the thread there. I think 2020 comes out on top.
Okay.
It's a really difficult question. It's very complex because of the dynamic of the NFL and how it's changed. But
sure.
If you take all of that out of the equation and you're just going head to head, that 2002 defense is just, it's the best.
Pretty good.
They're so good.
Pretty good.
But
yeah, definitely.
This defense is good too, and it's all about balance, right? So the three phases of the game, and I still think that this offense is so much better than the 2002 offense. As you said earlier, I don't know that they were that great on the run. Kind of leaves them a little bit sort of short-sighted or one-dimensional, and I think 2020 comes out on top in that one.
I think you definitely could. I definitely think you could be right. Again, though, that defense was tough. I mean, they were very, very tough with Hall of Famers and Sapp and Brooks and Lynch, of course, going in. Congratulations to him.
Absolutely.
And they had players like Brian Kelly and, of course, Rondé Barber, who I think is a Hall of Famer, and, of course, Simeon Rice, who could be a Hall of Famer. And just schematically, nobody saw that Tampa 2 defense. But the thing was, no matter what they were doing schematically, they got lots of pressure. So that offensive line would definitely have to protect Brady. So
absolutely. That is the X factor, right?
Yeah.
Is how much can we protect Brady, because that's one of the keys to that offense.
Yeah.
2020.
I'm not ready to make a determination of who will win that game. I think it's fun to talk about it and hear about it. But I watched that 2002 defense.
Complex.
They were tough. But this defense also, down the stretch, they were tough. And with the Devin White, man, boy, he's nasty. He's a nasty player, and he's only going to get better and better.
And so fast. I mean, that guy, you can't say enough about him. He's always there. He's always putting the hit on guys, getting all the tackles. He's faster on the ball. He can intercept. Great coverage. I didn't they say that he wasn't a great coverage linebacker? What happened to that?
Well, he's pretty good in coverage. Levante David was pretty good in coverage. You could see that against Travis Kelce. He was very frustrated in that game, and you could see David making some plays. So, that's a tough matchup. I love to see it, and most likely we're only going to see that. Well, there's no most likely about it. We're going to see it on Madden. We're never going to be able to see that game, and they're never going to do a simulation. I mean, they may on ESPN. I remember they used to do that all the time with previous teams who would win, and it was just based off of analysis by paralysis, if you will. Nobody really knows unless they play on the field.
I got another thing for you. I mean, there's also chemistry as a huge thing.
Sure.
That 2002 team was together for quite a bit. That line was together for a long time.
Well, that defense is definitely around for a long time, and which is why they had to go with John Gruden at the time. Tony Dungy built that defense up. The offense, look, they had their problems, and when John Gruden came in, it was almost like the Bucs this year, right? They started out a little bit slow. They had their moments, but boy, when they hit that stride, they were just nasty in the playoffs. They blew out the 49ers. They basically had their way with the Eagles, and they blew out the Raiders. So,
and that was a great year.
It was.
I remember all that. I have a lot of Eagle friends, fans. Yeah, that was great.
Yep, it was definitely. All right, 3 players you're going to keep out of this list. Who is it going to be?
Well, I say we got to keep that defense together as much as possible. So we're definitely keeping, trying to keep that line together.
So you're keeping Shaq?
We'll definitely keeping Shaq. That is my man right there. That dude's handling business. We keep him. We keep David. I think the leadership, you got to keep that intact.
Sure.
Even though Devin White's coming into his own. Definitely keep them. And then you got to keep Gronk. That guy is just solid, rock solid.
Yeah. Very good. Okay.
If you had to pick 3, I think that's it.
So you're taking Shaq? You're taking
Shaq.
Okay.
David.
Okay.
And Gronk.
Gronk. No Godwin? You let Godwin go?
Godwin, I like him, and obviously I want to keep him. But if you're asking for 3, those are my 3 because we were pretty stacked on that, in the depth of receivers. I think Scotty Miller is, same thing with Antonio Brown, right? I think Scotty Miller can fill that role.
Sure, he can.
We need to.
Well, I think I don't think Antonio Brown. I don't think Brown's going anywhere now. Do I think Godwin has a chance to go somewhere? Yes, I do think that there's a possibility that, if he's looking at making lots of money, which he can with the team, because they'll pay him his value or more. They'll overpay. Bad teams have to overpay, and that's truly what Godwin wants to be. He's a number 1 wide receiver for a bad team. Then most likely the Bucs will go with the plan of having a Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown, a Tyler Johnson to fill in that role. Absolutely, they'll try to do that. So I would not.
That's right. There's going to be a lot of teams waving money around. I guarantee that.
Well, sure, but just because they wave the money around doesn't mean you necessarily have to take it because. Again, the grass isn't greener on the other side, but I understand the business of the NFL. Sometimes a guy, and look, it just depends on if he wants to stay here. I think he would want to stay here. What the Bucs are willing to pay, what he's willing to take. If they can come to some type of compromise, then they'll do it. If not, then they'll either franchise him or let him test free agency. And if he tests free agency, he gets a better deal. Good for him. I don't necessarily think it's the smartest move. But at the end of the day, it's not always about the smart move. It's about the money, the move that's going to make you the most money. And if that's his true intention, then, albeit it's a business. So, all right, good.
And I think the Brady effect solidifies that too. So all those Brady haters, that Brady ties this together, and I think he is the key factor to these guys wanting to restructure and keep it together because his leadership does that.
Agree. Good stuff, man. Appreciate the call. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you right there. Thanks a lot. Yes, sir. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you. All right. All right. Good stuff, Alex. All right. We'll read the rest of these comments, and then I think we'll wrap this puppy up unless there's somebody else that calls in for the night here on the Advanced Auto Parts Sports Web Live on Bucs Report. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. So, he also cheats on his coach by not hugging him. Yes, we do need Stephon Gilmore. If we can get him, he's a true shutdown corner. Rather have that depth than another wide receiver. David says, I say David Godwin and suck up. David, again, I don't know if this is true or not, but they're saying JPP has never lost a playoff game. I believe that's true, but we'll have to check it. What would the price be on a franchise tag for Godwin if we have to? I believe 18 to 20 million, but don't quote me on that, but I think that's the range. Is it true that Brady's thinking about restructuring his contract as well, like Evans? Yes, that's true. It's been reported by Joshua Cole on the Bucs report. I believe if they play like they did on Sunday, they will win the Super Bowl next season. And go Buccaneers. Okay, good stuff. Alex says, I'm tired of these salty losers. All I got to say is win. Let's go out to Todd. Todd, welcome to the Evolution. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are Super Bowl champions. How you feeling, my friend?
Oh, Peter, it's words can't say enough.
I bet.
It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
What a great run, a great year we had.
Sure.
Going 8-0 after the bye week.
Isn't that amazing that how that could happen? And we talked about it, not only running the table to make the playoffs, but running the table in the postseason. This team could do it if basically they played their game, and we saw them play their game, right, Todd?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's like I told you before. I'm sure I told you this probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. We play Washington. It was all about their defense and how they were going to beat up Brady. And we go in there and we beat Washington. And then our nemesis, the Saints, who clobbered us in Tampa. And then we go to New Orleans and beat them with our defense.
Right.
And then we're playing the MVP of the league, Aaron Rodgers. We don't have a shot in Lambeau to beat them. And we go up there and we beat them.
Yeah.
And then, all the talk was Kansas City, all week. I mean, I watched a lot of the national media. There wasn't too many national media members that picked us.
No, you're definitely right. There wasn't a lot of national media members that there wasn't a lot of national media members besides maybe Skip Bayless, who said, I never, bet against Tom Brady. And he's right.
Right.
So,
right. Well, you don't. And when people start realizing that, there's a lot of Brady haters out there.
Sure,
there's a lot. The AFC East, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I talk to fans all the time that like these other teams. And, the Steeler fans can't stand Tom Brady.
Right.
Because he broke their hearts so many times. That's why they don't like him. He is a winner. He's a winner. He is a class act.
Yeah.
And what he's going to do with his to restructure. And Mike Evans is always a team player. He always does it. 2 class acts right there. I mean, they're unbelievable.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. All right. The question for the Knights, or the questions for the night: who wins in a matchup between the 2002 Buccaneers and the 2020 Buccaneers, and why?
Well, my best friend who goes to all the Buck games with me, I asked him that today. He said the 2020 team. I want to tell you something, Peter. The 2002 team, the defense was unbelievable. They were incredible. One of the best defenses in the history of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I put them right there real close with the Bears defense of 85. Okay.
Well, I'll agree with you on that.
And then we don't have a Tom Brady on that team. We had Brad Johnson. But let me tell you, we had Michael Pittman. We had Mike Allscott. 2 bruising running backs.
Oh, yeah.
We had Keyshawn Johnson.
Yep.
We had Keenan McCardle.
Yep. Joe Jaravicious.
Joe Jaravicious made that big play against Philly to get us rolling in that game.
Big time play.
I think the 2002 team wins by a field goal.
Okay. I can buy that. I mean, I don't think they will be blown out by any means. And I definitely think this 2020 defense has proven themselves because they shut down Kansas City, Green Bay, the Saints. I mean, they went through that gauntlet of quarterbacks and shut them down. So I think that's impressive. And what's the more run that you appreciate more? Is it this run this year, or is it the 2002 run?
Well, this year, obviously.
Okay.
You've been, because we went to the bye week and we were 7-5, and there was a lot of questions.
Right.
There was a lot of questions to be answered. And I think the coaches that week and the players that week, they took some time off. The coaches got together and they looked at everything and they changed some things up. And we got better and better every week.
Yeah.
I mean, the Minnesota game, there was people that was doubting us of beating Minnesota.
Hold on, Todd. Let me go ahead and put this caller on hold. Caller, hold up. We got Todd on the line. We'll come back to you. Stand by. All right, Todd, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, I think the 8-0 run, the longest winning streak in Buccaneer history, has to speak volumes.
Yeah.
And,
I definitely think if it speaks volumes. I mean, 8 in a row, you roll off 8 in a row, and a lot of these games weren't close. It's not like you're winning nail biters. It's like you're dominating teams. The Green Bay game to me was domination. They let the Packers get back in it, but they shut them down pretty much. I mean, when you hold a team in the red zone to basically 6 points, that you're winning, and that's what you have to do with an explosive offense like the Packers. You're exactly right. Ever since they were down, 17-0 to the Falcons, and they went on that just torrid 31-10 run, they have been just unstoppable. So, but you're exactly right. I mean, they're winning games, somewhat close, but I think in dominating efforts and defensively, a lot of these games weren't close. So
I think that Atlanta game really changed the season.
I do too. I mean,
we played awful that first half.
Oh,
awful.
Absolutely awful
and
against the Atlanta
I almost
team.
Turned the game off.
Well, of course. I mean, I
was frustrated.
Todd, we were at halftime. We had 100 people watching, and I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. I looked at the camera and said, I don't know what to say. I mean, you have 60 yards of total offense, and then that second half, you're just like, wow, this team is just blowing the doors off. They're showing everybody, and then incorporating Antonio Brown into it. I mean, That whole team took off, and then that defense just said, enough is enough. That's it. They had one of those speeches at halftime, or somebody got into their ass. I think it was Tom Brady. Yeah.
He probably did.
Yeah.
I mean, because Bruce Arians has said in his press conferences, the players listen more to Brady than they do me.
Well,
so, Brady, it's a team game.
Sure.
And what really aggravates me is we had one Pro Bowler, one guy that made the Pro Bowl. We got 10 guys that should have made the Pro Bowl on this team, Peter.
Yeah. You got a lot of players on this team that should have made it, especially a Devin White. Could have said Mike Evans, maybe a Rob Gronkowski with the numbers, with the way they looked and the way he played. But Tom Brady especially, I mean, being ranked the third Pro Football Focus quarterback in the NFL, and he's not even in Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, I get it. He's a young guy. You want to push that young name because you want more promotion. But at the end of the day, it's about the best player at that position. And obviously to me, that would be Brady, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, don't his resume speak for itself?
Well,
people need to realize what he has done. You might not ever see this again.
I think
he's gone to 10 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I think the resume is kind of a detriment. And you know why? Because Brady's made so many Pro Bowls in his career that they said, you know what, we want to give somebody that has a chance. But, there's no game anyway. I mean, they're not playing a game. They're playing Madden, which it should be anyway. That's how it should be every year, because the Pro Bowl is a joke. It's a waste of time. The only reason why you have it is because people are so hungry for football. I don't watch it. I mean, I think it's a joke. But
the thing that impressed me the most about this Super Bowl, Peter, was our two best receivers were not really involved in this game. You think about it. We did not have I think Mike Evans had one catch, and Chris Godwin had one catch.
One catch for 31 yards, which is a big conversion to get you in the red zone. And Godwin had a couple catches, but nothing spectacular on
No, and we did it without our two best receivers.
Yep.
The defense was incredible. We got two outstanding rookies, Tristan Wirtz and Antonio Winfield.
Pick of the year by Jason Light, besides Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, one sack the whole year. One sack, is that all he gave up the whole year? I mean, that's amazing to me. Maybe that's one penalty.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, agree.
So those rookies deserve a lot of credit. The whole team Everybody contributed. There's some key players that we need to keep on this roster.
All right, who are those 3 players you're going to take? Because I gave a limit here, but I didn't have to do it. But I was curious to see what players people wanted to keep. So out of those players here, and let me go ahead and refresh it. It's Shaq Barrett, Chris Godwin, Ndamukong Suh, Rob Gronkowski, Levante David. Out of those players, 3 of them have to stay. Who? Okay.
Him and Devin White are just incredible duel. So I think Levante you have to keep.
Okay.
I think Shaq Barrett, I want to keep him.
Okay.
But I think he's going to want a lot of money. So I'm not going to include him in that. I think Gronk comes back for a hometown discount.
Okay.
So Gronk, Levante, and we have to keep Chris Godwin. We have to keep Chris. Whether we sign him long term or we franchise tag him, we have to keep Chris Godwin.
So your 3 players are Godwin, Shaq, and who's the other one? David?
No. It's Godwin, Levante, and Gronk.
Wow. Shaq Barrett? No Shaq. Okay.
I just think he's gonna, Peter. I like him. He's a great player.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna want a lot of money. And I've heard Bruce Arians say all these guys are unselfish. It's a tight locker room.
Sure.
But sometimes you got to give up a little to get a little. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's certainly possible. But you know what? Shaq Barrett is definitely a talented pass rusher who I don't necessarily know you want to see go somewhere else. I think the Denver Broncos would probably like to have him back with Von Miller, but that may be a direction they may go. We'll see. Good stuff. Todd, thank you very much for the call. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you really quick. And real quick.
Thanks for staying up so late.
Todd, hey, man, no problem. No curfew here. I want you to do me real quick a favor. I want you to do a Ric Flair woo. Go for it.
Woo!
Oh, there we go. That's Todd. Todd, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate the call. All right,
Thanks,
boss?
Peter. Great job, brother.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Let me go out to the phone lines here. He's been waiting, or she. Could be a she, but usually it's a he. I never get that lucky for female calling. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Hey, Peter. How you doing? Steve, how you doing?
What's going on, Steve? How you doing, bud?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. I'm just super excited for the Bucs. Phenomenal game. Absolutely phenomenal game, brother. So I was listening to Todd. I noticed the list that you put together. And nice guy. I mean, he made some great points about people to keep. But I'm in a bit of a disagreement. I think between Godwin and Shaq, I would keep Shaq.
You keep Shaq.
Oh, absolutely. Because AB could do what Godwin does.
Well, that's true. I mean, and you look at the statistics for the Super Bowl. I mean, not counting the season, we know what Godwin can do. He wants to be a number 1 receiver. He has been a number 1 receiver on this team, but you're exactly right. If you drafted a Tyler Johnson in the 5th round, do you believe that Johnson could come in and give you the same production? Maybe the Bucs do. Antonio Brown, you sign him to a lesser deal, then you can devote that money to a Shaq Barrett. Not saying I don't want Godwin. Of course I want Godwin. I want everybody on this team that gives them the best chance to win, but at the end of the day, if it's a money decision, Steve, and if Godwin wants to move on and go somewhere else, and he gets money somewhere else more than the Bucs are willing to pay, okay, I get it. I think Barrett is a lot more important because he's a pass rusher. Those guys don't grow on trees. They just don't. Ask all Bucs fans. I mean, how many years, Steve, did the Bucs have to wait to get a pass rushing specialist like a Simeon Rice in the vein of a Shaq Barrett? Because that's what Shaq Barrett is right now. He's like a Simeon Rice to a certain degree with the 19.5 sacks, very consistent. Would have most likely had more sacks this year, more pressures, third pressures in the NFL. I mean, those guys don't grow on trees. Can you draft one? Absolutely, but you're not going to be in the position to draft a top-notch one unless you decide to trade up, which is always a possibility, but you're picking 32. Which, is the reason why you win the Super Bowl. So to me, exactly. Shaq Barrett is going to cost you a lot of money, but he's worth that money because he works in this defense. He gets after the quarterback consistently. You could make the point, and I think Jason Light and Mike Greenberg will make this point, is that, well, your production wasn't down. Yes, you had the pressures, but you still didn't have the sacks, so we'll pay you this. Now, does Shaq want to accept that? I think Shaq at the end of the day wants to get paid, but he also wants some security like every other player. No player wants to play under that franchise tag. Although, look, if somebody's going to give me 17, 18, 19 million for 1 year to play, I'm going to play. So we'll see what happens with the security issue. But I think it comes down to what the player really wants. Now, if I'm a player for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team and I feel like this team is going to run it back, and the only way they can run it back is if I take less money, more than likely I'm going to take less money because I want to win a championship. And I think the best possible way to do that, Steve, is by staying with this team. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense. And you got to look at the other side too. What if he goes somewhere where they have ridiculous taxes? I got this huge contract for you, but how much of that is going to go into state tax? Well, you have the advantage in Florida where you don't have to worry about that.
Bingo.
And I think a lot of these players, it really is the Brady effect, because I guarantee you that's one of the first contracts that's going to get restructured. Brady's going to work out some type of deal. He doesn't care about the money. He just wants to win. So he's not going to be worried about that $25 million that they want for this upcoming year. He's going to have to restructure it some kind of way. Because I actually went back and looked at some of his past contracts when he was with New England. I'm a huge Brady fan. I'm going to look at some of his past. There are years, and I don't mean Super Bowl years, where his contract, he took a $1 million and had like a $15 million roster bonus or something. It was something ridiculous just to help the team out so they could get better players. And I don't see that changing at all. I guarantee he'll be one of the first people to restructure. Mike Evans has already said he's open to restructuring.
Sure.
There's going to be a lot of these guys who want to stay together and because the only thing better than one Super Bowl ring is 2 Super Bowl rings.
Sure.
If your price tag is nice now, wait till they say 2-time Super Bowl champion and you go somewhere else.
Well,
it's a huge draw.
Well, what if I told you that Tom Brady was going to restructure his deal because he's planning to get Chris Godwin re-signed? I think that's certainly a possibility, and it goes back to one of the callers' point. I don't know who the caller was, but basically Godwin became Brady's security blanket on third down. I mean, you can put a price on that, but that's a big time thing to look at. If that's the guy you're going to convert those third downs, not saying that Mike Evans or Antonio Brown can't do that, but if that's Brady's true intention, or Mike Evans is restructuring because he's trying to keep his running mate in a Godwin in the fold, I think it's certainly possible for him to work it out because, like you said, Brady effect, and because this is the best possibility to win. So who are the 3 players you're going to keep? And then the other question is, who wins in a matchup between the 2002 Buccaneers and 2020 Buccaneers?
Ooh, good question. But the players I'm going to keep, I'm definitely going to keep the guys who scored for him last night. I'm keeping Gronk. I'm keeping AB. I'm keeping those guys. I'm keeping Shaq. Again, I like Chris Godwin. I don't dislike. I think he's great.
Sure.
Here's my problem. And during the playoffs, he had a lot of drops.
He did.
And a third down, the one you know who didn't have drops when Brady threw to him on third down or second down or whatever down? AB.
That's true. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
You're right. Don't worry about that guy. And one of the things I love, the power of what he's done. I was one of those guys who was like, oh, one man can make a difference on a team, all this sort of stuff, right? But it's true. It really is true. I mean, Patrick Mahomes made a difference for KC. They never got to a Super Bowl until they got him, and he started. Tom Brady has made the difference in Tampa Bay. One of the most powerful things, if you haven't done it, look at it yet, go on YouTube and watch the post-game interview with AB, and they start asking AB about Tom Brady and what it's like to finally be here and have him believe in him. And he teared up talking about how grateful he was for the second chance that he got and the help that he got from Tom Brady and the belief that Brady has. And it is powerful. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I definitely got to check that out. I definitely got to check that out, and I will get that. But, it's almost like a totally different person. I mean, AB's completely out of control. He's looking to go after it goes to the Raiders. He goes to the Patriots. He meets Tom Brady, and then he's out of the league for a year. And he knows it's basically his last opportunity. If you don't make it with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have no opportunity to make it anywhere else. So he knew this was his last opportunity. But at the end of the day, who knows what's in that man's mind? But like I said, I was a critic of the move, but I said I would give it a chance. And again, I'm glad I gave it a chance. I'm glad the Bucs did it because the Bucs had so many injuries on that wide receiving core this year, with Evans being down and Godwin being down, and you got Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller being down. So it definitely helped their wide receiving core out. And I tell you right now, he got hot at the right time before the injury. He was catching touchdowns in every game. So he got comfortable, and you feel like if you bring him back, he's extra motivated to win another championship. You're going to see the real AB. You just saw a preview of what AB could be. You're going to see the real AB when he's able to have a full off season, to dissect this offense and this whole team to come together. You feel like they're going to find ways to get him the ball. And I'm excited about it. I think he's definitely going to come back. They're going to find a way to bring him back. And I think to tell you the truth, I think they bring back both guys. I think they bring back Godwin and AB, and I still think they sign Shaq. Somehow, some way, this team will not have as many losses as people anticipate. They'll figure it out.
I agree. I'm going to be surprised if they found a way to fit everybody in, to be honest. Like you said, Brady's going to give up something. People are going to restructure their deals to help make things happen.
Sure.
Now, to answer your second question, as far as who I think will win between 02 and 22, the 02 team, which, I mean, you had Sapp and you had Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber. The defense was crazy, and Lynch and those guys. But I do know this, as time goes on, players get stronger, players get faster, players get smarter. And the only reason I would give the 2020 Bucs the edge, the main reason rather I would give them the edge, because, I mean, that defense was crazy good. But it's Brady. Brady's the only reason I would give them the slight edge.
That's it. I absolutely agree with you. Good stuff, my friend. Anything else?
Thanks, man. I love your show, brother. Doing a great job. I'm always, whenever I can find you, I'm always listening. So keep up the good work. Appreciate you.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot for calling. And you don't have to find me far, man. We'll be here on Bucs Report. And, of course, friend me on my Facebook wall, Peter H. Blake. I'm out there, man. I'm always looking to talk to Bucs fans. No matter if you agree or disagree with me, we're always going to talk Bucs on this program. All right, boss?
Hey, awesome. One last question. I'm curious. Is there a parade scheduled or not?
Yes, 1:00 tomorrow, according to the Tampa Bay Times, on the Hillsborough River. So if you can't make it, and there's some people out there that had to work like I do, you can always stream it on Buccaneers.com and other outlets. So definitely check that out, but it's starting at 1:00. All right, my friend?
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, boss. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons. And we'll talk to you later. All right, boss? All right, good stuff there. All right, let's read these comments, and then we'll probably wrap it up for the night because we almost hit 3 hours. 3 hours commercial-free. No commercials. Yes, I bring up Advanced Auto Parts. Yes, I brought up the Deck Bar and Grill, but I didn't give you commercials about male enhancement. I didn't give you commercials about this and that and the other thing. I mean, I get it. They got to make money. So do we. It's commercial-free. Nearly 3 hours of Bucs talk. What do you want? It's here. It's on Bucs Report. Take advantage of it. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Somebody said off air, when you jump into that chair, it kind of clicks. It does. It kind of clicks for me. It heats me up. That fire comes out. I don't know what I was doing years ago. I understand. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know. This is what I do. Everything else is behind me. I love to do this. I love to talk sports in general. I'll talk to you about NFL all night long. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning a friggin' Super Bowl, I'll talk to you all night long. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's see here. Can we please play no first game of the season next year? Oh, well, you can book that. Sorry, Willow. That's definitely going to happen. You're going to play the first game of the year. Brady, this team, and the whole dream team aspect, because I saw this today on Yahoo Sports. We'll get that article tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit. Kind of put, this team was kind of focused on being a dream team, right? All the superstars, could they come together? The attitudes, we've seen that before with the Philadelphia Eagles. We've seen teams try to do this. It's amazing how it all came together. Wasn't perfect. Nothing is. Nothing ever is perfect besides the 72 Miami Dolphins. That wasn't a dream team. Lots of talent. Won lots of games together. There's nothing perfect about this. Nothing. But they put it together at the right time. The attitude. All the Eagles got put aside. And they bought in. And this is why they're Super Bowl champions. You bought in. And this is what happens. This is when a plan comes together. I love that. I absolutely love that statement. It's from the A-Team, by the way. Just saying. You would think that they give everyone a bit more time to announce a boat parade for Wednesday. Awful short notice for people who would like to attend and watch. I agree. I mean, come on, Bucs. Come on, Mayor Castor. Let's do it on the weekend. We don't want that. Too many people are partying. By the way, if you're going to party, just wear a mask. Wash your hands. I get it. I'm going stir crazy too wearing a mask, but we got to do it. We got to be responsible. We do. Stops the spread. Hopefully we won't be talking about this pandemic here in the next couple months. Hopefully. God willing. Mahomes better be lucky he's a mobile quarterback, because if he was a pocket quarterback like Brady, he would have probably been in the hospital right now. Yeah, with a concussion. I said this too. Gerardo says, tell them it's not make it, take it. They got the ball every time the Bucs scored. There you go. Brady was mic'd up. I love to hear the conversation he had with the Honey Badger. Who wouldn't? Laugh out loud. Russell says the Chiefs gave the Bucs, a full bulletin board of reasons for revenge back in Week 12. Backflips, deuces, phone calls, etc. The fact we didn't lose after that explains it all. I mean, look, they're not zombies. I mean, they pay attention to the national media. They pay attention to all that bulletin board material. They do. I mean, when you get a little cute little Tyreek Hill making a call like Shannon Sharp, I need help, this and that and the other thing. They picked up all that. Guarantee it. It was one of those motivating factors. And people say, well, if you need that to motivate you to be in the Super Bowl, well, you shouldn't be in the Super Bowl. Really? Oh, that motivated them. Oh, that got them fired up big time. 2002 Buccaneer defense is the greatest single season defense ever. 2020 is a real close second. Okay, I respect that. I can respect that. All right, Gary says, Barrett, David, and Sue, I let Godwin go and re-sign Brown, which gives them more money to re-sign some more players. Good stuff. Tony says, what are the chances they get J.J. Watt from the Texans? Look, anything is possible with this team. We've seen it. I was one of these people that came on here and said, no way Rob Gronkowski signs here because they don't have the salary cap. Nope, wrong. No way they keep Gronk and Howard and Brate. Nope, wrong. They kept them. So I wouldn't rule it out. It depends on what the Texans want to deal for him. Do they want a first-round pick? No. Not doing a first-round pick. Sorry. I like J.J. Watt. I don't love him. I think he's highly productive, but I think, he's very injured. I think he's been a part of a defense that's been very bad. With that being said, if it's maybe a second, third, maybe a third or fourth round pick. And then the salary constraints. He's making $16 million. He's going to have to take less money. Got to redo that deal. So, I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. Bucs back-to-back. Definitely possible. Gerardo, I'm a Bucs bandwagon fan. I've liked Brady since Michigan because he was so good even back then if you watched him. Willow says NO equals New Orleans. I get it. Could be New Orleans. You guys are still going. We are. Laugh out loud. Gerardo, it's a dream team. This is a dream team that will be better next year. Ryan says, give Brady credit. He got them to the dance, and the entire team brought it all home for Brady. Fire those cannons 7 times, as we shall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Godwin for JJ straight up. If you get Godwin to the Houston Texans, most likely Deshaun Watson would stay. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I would stay. I'm not doing that trade. Not doing that. Nah, I ain't doing that. Ha ha, nice job. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys, so let's wrap it up here. Thanks a lot to all the guests. That would be Joshua Cole Allen. That's the only guest. And, of course, your phone calls. We'll be back tomorrow night on the Advanced Auto Parts Sports Web with former Buccaneer great Ricky Reynolds. And, of course, your phone calls here early on this Wednesday morning. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep on saying it. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are world champions. So, without further ado, what do we say here to end this show as we started the show? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. See you tomorrow night on the evolution of Sports Talk Television live on Bucs Report. Have a great night. The evolution of Sports Talk Television live here nightly on Bucs Report. It's the Sports Lab. I'm your host, Jimmy Blake, giving you something to think about on tonight's show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Will you shut up and be quiet?